Oh, bitter old man with the cat photo. Got bitter old man with the cat photo. Oh, yeah, I guess I should have stopped singing earlier. Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Beer Tubes United. You have myself, you have the king of BeerTube here, you have the bitter old man with the cat photo, and you have hashtag Americans Piss in Growlers. I don't think he's actually here, though, since he is muted at the moment. So, first and foremost, before we get going on, when was the U.S. founded?
1776.
Now we don't know if we can take Ewart's opinion or not.
I don't care.
Oh, well, then we definitely can't take your opinion. Your opinion
Alrighty.
of beer is null and void, sir.
Yeah, I'm not big on history. It's in the past. I'm looking forward, man.
Yeah, but you were present for so much of it, though.
Oh, ouch! Thank you.
Oh, that was hurtful right there. Okay, so first and foremost, just our usual beer news that comes out. Red Hook is coming to Ontario. Red Hook's coming to Ontario through the craft beer brand company. I don't understand why they're bringing it, because Red Hook is partially owned by AB InBev. Why don't they just bring it through with the beer store? But whatever. What are they saying we're going to get? Audible Ale. I've never had Audible Ale. And that's it, apparently. Audible Ale.
I've never really heard too many glowing reviews of Red Hook.
No, they're drinkable, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Elora Brewing aiming for a May opening in Elora, Ontario. So Elora Brewing, actually, I'm kind of curious if there was an Elora Brewery, not brewing company, but Elora Brewery, and they're actually owned by they used to be there, and then they were bought out by Michael Arnold and Trafalgar. He still makes some Elora stuff. He makes like an Elora Pale Ale and Elora extra special bitter, Elora bitter. I'm curious if this brewing company is gonna get off the ground or not now that I'm looking at this name, because he probably has a trademark on that.
Yeah.
Oh, and right here it even says that 15 years after the closure of this brewery, the small town of Elora is to be home to a brewery again with the upcoming opening of Elora Brewing.
Huh. Well, maybe he can just reword it to some small degree to get around any sort of copyright issues, or maybe they made a deal with Michael Arnold. You never know.
Yeah, it's true. And their flagship beer will be Three Fields, an unfiltered triple grain lager.
Oh shit! Garrison, sue the fuck out of these people. Three Fields, that's one of your fucking beers.
Barley, wheat, and rye.
Hey, Harvest Ale. I'm up for a Harvest Ale any old day.
Stouffville Brewing is planning to open a brewery and tap room this year. Did you ever have the Stouffville Red Falcon there, E?
No, I haven't.
No, okay.
I don't even know what that is.
I haven't either. It's contract brewed and it's in a bunch of beer stores, but it's only in beer stores in the Toronto, Brantford, that sort of thing area. Where are they saying this is going? Whitchurch, Stouffville, Ontario. I don't even know where in Ontario that is, so don't take anything that I say, seriously. I do know they are contract brewed in Wellington, so it has to be at least somewhat close to Guelph, to within a couple hours if they're contract brewing there.
So are they called Stoutville or Stouffville?
Stouffville.
Stouffville. So Stouffville Stout?
Stouffville Red Falcon Ale.
Oh, but they gotta have a stout though. They have to call it Stouffville Stout.
And then this is one for Lee, opening up in Nova Scotia, Breton Brewing Company. It says Cape Breton, but down here it says, what did I say to you? Coxheath.
Yeah, I have no idea where that is. Maybe Jason Spears knows.
It has to be somewhere near Sydney and on Cape Breton Island is what it says.
Yeah, we try to pretend Cape Breton doesn't exist in Nova Scotia. We're kind of bigots that way.
Well, they're going to have a 5,000 square foot brewing on Celtic Drive.
Huh.
And it doesn't say anything. Oh, their first will be they're partial to India Pale Ales and Belgians.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, they got big spruce up in Cape Breton. It's time for another one, I think. there's room there at least for another brewery. So.
Alrighty. Well, that's my beer news right now. Unless you guys have any more.
Stewville is near Markham.
Okay, so they are kind of going out of their way for Guelph, aren't they? Wouldn't there be a lot more in the Toronto area for them to contract at?
Who knows? I mean, they're not based on, between Markham and Newmarket. I mean, they're just far enough outside the city that they're just going to stay on the rim, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Obviously, they got a deal going with somebody in Guelph versus maybe some of the other guys weren't as cooperative.
Yeah, I just know that Amsterdam usually has room. Pool always has room. GLB usually has some room.
But maybe someone in Guelph has more room and it's cheaper.
Yep.
So.
And who would want to be associated with a brewery that makes Millennium Buzz?
Yeah. Hey, man, I used to buy cool beer when I was in university at this bar owned by a biker gang down the street from the house I was staying at, and dollar drafts. That's all I remember. It was cool beer. I didn't no idea, but it's dollar drafts. That's all I cared. Went down. So I mean, hey, I have an affinity for him. I have a soft spot in my heart.
So you were at the Albino Rhino Beer Festival wearing a cool beer T-shirt.
Yep. If I could find one, yes, I would definitely, most definitely.
He'll have a station wagon parked up with some Millennium Buzz in the back.
Because it's a total hipster thing to do because it's ironic, right? Because I would not do this shit now, right? With my little toucan glasses, just like my avatar.
You and Greg will be selling Millennium Buzz out of the back of the station wagon.
Oh man.
So what's everybody going to be drinking tonight?
Well, I'm actually having a beer today because I need to increase my calorie intake. I'm having the thing from Deep Ellum Brewing, which is in Dallas, Oak Cliff Coffee Ale. And actually says on not your average Joe around the rim of it. It's pretty funny. It's not bad. 7.5%. I got this as an got some. Yeah, I did a beer freaking trade. I got some. There's an extra. It's pretty good.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I'm not drinking to increase my calorie intake for any specific reason. I'm just drinking to enjoy a beer.
All right.
Boxing Rock.
Yes.
Sorry, that was my justification for having a beer. Because normally I don't.
You gotta stop rationalizing these things, Ewart.
That's true.
How about yourself, Guy? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm working tomorrow, so I'm gonna go light with the detour.
Okay. I'm going to be doing St. Ambrose apricot wheat. Start
What's
off.
that out of the can?
Yep. It's not as good out of the can as what I remember out of the bottle.
Oh.
But the smell's just as good. And how about American Fist and Growlers?
Tonight I'm going to be drinking, we'll start off with Buried Hatchet Stout from Southern Star.
I just had that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The punter brought a can back from his trip to Florida.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty. I'm really liking it.
Yeah, it was a really nice beer.
Devin says, yo.
Well, get in here, Devin. Stop just yelling around and fucking...
Yeah, get that headset you spent $10 on, and
Yeah. Epic vomit, by the way, there, Guy. That was quite the show.
Had it all planned out.
Did he vomit on a new video that I didn't get to see yet?
Yeah, his another Guinness Gauntlet, another throw up in the bucket.
I could have tried to kept it in, but due to the T-shirt and context, I was like, no, it's gotta come out.
You might get some extra subs out of that once Reckless Eating sees that.
Me and Lee gonna be in the same boat.
So, I guess we can, unless Beer Snobs United has anything over there for beer news in his end, You go on topics.
I mean, only the really two things I've noticed this week is they. Let me pull it up. Everyone's been talking about the Super Bowl commercial. I don't know if y'all saw it, the Bud.
Yeah, that's one of our topics for later on.
Okay. The only other thing is, finally, for the first time in a long time, it's not necessarily good news, but a lot of breweries are starting to talk about closing down in Colorado because everyone's projecting that the bubble's finally reached its limit.
Oh, really? How many breweries do they have in Colorado?
There's a lot. But there's not many, like, big cities. There's just, like, sparsely populated areas and then several large cities. And each of those large cities just are cram-packed full of breweries. And I guess finally some of the smaller ones are starting to die out.
Well, see, that's an interesting thing because that's something that when you talk to a brewery, you talk to people in the industry, they say will never happen. And a lot of people that watch the industry from the outside are always like, it will happen at some point. And then there's that argument that goes on.
Well, when we were talking to the guy from Silversmith there, I think he misunderstood what we were talking about when we were talking about the bubble bursting. We weren't saying the entire craft movement was going to collapse on itself. We're just saying some breweries are going to fall by the wayside eventually because there's just going to be too many in the market to sustain them all, right?
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, this is up in Fort Collins, North Colorado, so they're competing with New Belgium. They're competing with Fort Collins Brewery, several just really big, contenders in the Colorado beer scene, and these little guys are just, they're barely squeaking by, or they're starting to catch on, but if they're barely squeaking by, they're kind of on the downslope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. New Belgium and guys like Stone, I mean, they're in the same. They're big. They're expanding their markets because even they're feeling the pinch too. They have a lot of loyal drinkers, and they're picking up like Crooked Stave and Great Divide and all these guys in Colorado, and they're New Belgium's expanding way out, man, just like Stone is trying to take over the world. So at least they have the resources behind them that they can sort of weather some dips and the storms and expand their distribution channels and all that stuff. For the small guys, I mean, they're just venturing out and they just trying to find drinkers. I mean, they're out there. It's just, it's the footprint for distribution just isn't developed as well as it is for the big guys, right? For the small guys to get into that chain, it's not easy. So.
Yeah, I mean, do any of you guys foresee like New Belgium and Stone getting to the size of like a Sam Adams at some point, or?
I mean, I read an article not too long ago. It said who is going to be the next Sam Adams, because several weeks back, they had the whole Sam Adams things where he's getting all Jim Cook was getting all angry that his beers weren't being appraised anymore, or held to a high standard anymore because of whatever. And a lot of people did mention New Belgium as being that next big, massive company that's eventually just going to fade out of the limelight.
Well, I could also see it being Stone because, I mean, Stone has a giant brewery right now. They're building two more, the one in Germany and the one in the northern half of the U.S. Like, that's going to make them pretty close to as big as Sam Adams, won't it? Three fair-sized, well, one gigantic and two fair-sized.
Well, I don't know. The Boston Beer Company, they own Angry Orchard and all those other things, so they got a lot underneath their umbrella.
Yeah, how many barrels does hectoliters or whatever does Sam Adams put out a year compared to Stone?
Oh, you can get that information. It's just searching for it.
It'll be a while before New Belgium ever get to Boston Beer Company's level, but they would be the next in line in terms of the next huge craft brewer if they're not already. I'd agree with New Belgium is probably there. So.
Oh.
Devin, what are you doing?
Hey guys,
Hey, buddy.
what's going on?
Didn't you just buy a headset? What the fuck's going on over there?
Devin, it sounds like your blender's having sex with your washing machine.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't done anything different since the last time I was on.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys.
Okay, it's better now, though.
Yeah, there just must be like you're just using your mic right off your laptop, right, or whatever, right?
No. The headset's got a mic. It's buried in my beard here.
So your beard's doing something to it.
Uh-oh.
Shocker.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah.
Is it still happening now?
Oh, it's done now.
No, it's done now. I
Sorry
think your
about that,
beard is
guys.
picking up signals from your cell phone.
I was trying to just.
Oh, it could be that too.
Listen in. With what you guys were talking about earlier, the Red Falcon Ale, I believe that brewery. I was just on their website. It looks like they were the two founders of Taps magazine, and also the founders of the. I think it was Canadian Brewing Awards. Let me double check. But I've had it once or twice.
Okay, so what you're saying is the owners are two people that founded a magazine about craft beer, and two people that made the awards for craft beer, and then they made a just red ale.
Yes, the website's redfalconale.ca. But I've had the beer a couple times. It's not bad. I've had it both in Niagara and up in Waterloo
Yes,
here.
I've never had it because I can't get cans of it down here.
It was on tap at Iggy's when I had it.
Yeah,
so.
we both know how many times I get a chance to get out of the house.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. But yeah. So I kind of heard what you guys were talking about earlier, but I kind of lost all my thoughts.
Yeah, that's normal for a king, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, that reminds me. I have one of your brother's beers upstairs fridge. He dropped it off to me when he picked up tickets for the festival.
Okay, is that some new porter he did?
No, that was his black wheat.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty good. One thing I want to bring up before we get into crazy topics tonight. This one guy I work with, Tyler, I want to put his name out there. He's had this brilliant idea for a while, and I don't think I've ever mentioned it to you, but you know the celebrities read mean tweets kind of videos happen? So he thinks it'd be a great idea if you did brewery owners read mean Untapped ratings. And
I would love to do that.
You are probably the guy to put that together. So I asked him tonight if he thought it would be, if he was okay with me mentioning it. And he was like, "Oh yeah," but like that could be
segment, yeah.
That could be a hilarious video.
Yeah, I've actually thought about stuff like that for a while. I just didn't actually think anyone would want to see it. So that could actually be something fun to do at every brewery I go to from now on.
Or even, I mean, there's a bunch of breweries coming to your festival. I know it's hectic.
Yeah,
but,
we can do it then too. Well, most of them will be here. Some of them will be here the day before. Some of them will be here drinking with me the day after. So.
Like, it's something to throw out there, especially if you can do it like kind of closed segment where it's just like a single person in a dimly lit room just looking depressed and reading these terrible ratings about their beer.
And we could even spin that off to just like the beer reviewers on YouTube. Like sort of like the favorite troll comments videos I did a while back.
Well, yeah, I could get them all to do that too. Like today's. You don't know anything about beer, Reverend, because you don't know when the U.S. was founded.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Devin, when was the U.S. founded? Because if you don't know, you shouldn't even be brewing beer at a brewery.
Isn't it like 1776 or something?
Oh, you're okay. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe.
I read the comments earlier today. Otherwise, not that I don't know, and frankly, it's just nothing. What's the point of knowing it?
Like I had posted on the Facebook site, I'm like, I could have asked him something about Canada, but then he would have just looked it up on Google.
Yeah,
his whole argument hinged on the fact that he thought you and the Reverend were Americans, and I pointed out to him, they're not Americans. Oh, well, I just assumed.
If you're not playing Trivial Pursuit, who cares, really?
Yeah, and what does it have to do with your taste buds? What does knowledge of history have to do with your fucking taste buds?
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, our first topic isn't even a topic. I just want to know what you guys think of this. This isn't even beer. This is just something that came up to me, was shared with me earlier this week, and I think is amazing, and I want to try it. And it is the hybrid drinks category has expanded as Irish cider brand Magners launches what it claims is a spirit cider containing Irish whiskey. 25 milliliters of Irish whiskey in every 500 milliliter can or bottle of this whiskey cider.
Well, Irish whiskey sort of tastes like fruity pears and apples anyway. So I mean, it'll probably not be that drastic a change of taste profile or anything.
Yeah, so they're making one pour beer cocktails. Ooh, wow,
Yeah.
inventive. Can't call it a category; it's a cocktail.
Yeah.
Well, the RTDs are kind of a category. They're ready to drinks. They're their own category.
I assume they're going to be.
At least if you go into the LCBO, they're their own category. They're up on their own little stuff.
Yeah, the LCBO defines everything now, I guess.
In Ontario, it does.
I assume they're going to be gross. I mean, I'm not a big Irish whiskey fan. Like, there's some really great Irish whiskeys out there,
Fuck
but
you.
the majority, fuck you. The majority of your country's whiskey is terrible. So that's all I have to say with that. It's not your fault. Your Irish whiskey market was decimated, and it's just slowly regrowing now.
So, I want to try everything, so I'm excited to try it. But that's just me.
I'd try it, but I mean, I honestly don't expect it to be that interesting. I mean, Irish whiskey really does have those sort of cidery flavors a lot of times. Like, you get that light grassy white fruit kind of pear, apple, white grape kind of taste. So, I mean, you know.
I'd be a little curious to try it. Magners is probably like the first cider aside from Strongbow that I ever had, and upon tasting it, like, I liked it quite a bit more. And one of my old friends and I, we just spent like a lot of nights drinking Magners out on his back porch, and just for like sentimental reasons and stuff, I'd be curious to try it. And I don't know, I'm hoping I would enjoy it. Might be an excuse to get back together and have a couple of pints with him. So
Yeah.
the whole serve over ice thing, though, I don't really care for. But
So what did they say what the alcohol percentage would be of these things?
No, it didn't yet. I don't even know if they've hit the market yet.
I could have
Because
sworn I read something that still said it was under 6.
yeah, so there you go. It's like it's just one of these other like coolers or ciders
Well,
or whatever.
it's 25 milliliters in a 500 milliliter drink. So yeah, it would probably raise the ABV by 1 or 2%.
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
Magners is 4 or 5 over here.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could skip that and get like Mike's Harder Lemonade or whatever the fuck it is for like 7%.
That's horribly gross, though.
Yeah, well, it'll do the same. It'll do the trick for you, though.
Hey, you want to drink a bunch of Octane? Because I still have a can of it in the fridge.
No, I don't really want to do that.
I'm just letting you know, if you want another can of Octane, I haven't even reviewed it yet. It's been in my fridge for over a year, and I'm scared of it.
Well, when I'm at the festival and I'm blitzed out of my fucking mind, then ask me again.
Just so everybody knows that is a big supporter of the can strike. St. Ambrose uses Crown cans, and I was just drinking it, and I just bought it, so I supported Crown. And this Cameron's can is a Crown can, and I'm going to drink this now. Just letting you know.
It's great.
Just thought, just thought I'd say that.
Is that Octane beer or a beer I bought? Yeah, is that like the energy drink beer or something like that?
Yeah, that's the energy drink beer.
Mm.
I want to try that.
I feel like I had it before I gave you a can. I don't recall it being exceptional.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that exceptional either.
It might be great.
10 out of
It
10.
might be.
It's been cellared now almost. Right?
It has been, yeah. So, brewing company Carlsberg considers putting beer in cardboard bottles. These are cardboard bottles that are then capped. They're not talking about having a bladder inside them or anything. They're talking about coating them, almost like a juice box, I guess, on the inside to keep beer from seeping out.
Why don't we just go to like Capri Sun packets?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big question is how they're going to hold carbonation in those things.
Yeah, are they going to be able to hold the pressure?
Yeah. That's just a dumb gimmick. That's so stupid. That I don't think that one's
Well,
gonna
they're
fly.
sitting there. They're talking about it because cardboard is more likely to be recycled. It's not using up as much fossil fuel to move it, not using as much fossil fuel to create it. So they're trying to play on the environmentalist angle.
Yeah. Well, if they can find a bunch of hippies who want to buy that shit, then go right ahead. I think cans are really the happy medium when it comes to being both environmentally friendly and cost effective.
So that means we're gonna see like wine boxes. We're gonna see beer boxes,
No, they're actually bottles.
but they can make it in the box format.
They could.
Yeah, they could. You could have boxes of wine. You could have boxes of beer. You
Well,
could
they do. They have those kegs. There's special kegs that are in like a plastic box, and if you wait too long, the box starts to deteriorate, and then you lose your beer.
I don't know. I just think that they needed to make more of an incentive to return bottles and stuff like that. There's no real, incentive in America, at least, to return bottles.
We get 10 cents a bottle, 5 cents a can, and 20 cents per liquor bottle.
Now, see, that's what I've heard that in a lot of countries. A lot of people are saying that the whole cardboard bottle thing will be beneficial this way. And really what I've seen most people say in America is that we just want to be able to turn our bottles in and, at least get recognized for it, some type of compensation for turning the bottles, because usually it's just like, well, fuck it, we'll take it off your hands.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, Devin.
I was going to say, I'm surprised no one made a macro wet cardboard joke on that.
I did.
That's what I was just waiting for it.
When I posted the story, I think that's what I said too. Is now everybody knows what cardboard tastes like.
Yeah, there you go. There's your tasting notes, you stupid
There
asshole.
you go.
What do you know? How do you know what cardboard tastes like? Now I know, bitch.
Save the environment, but people are just gonna chuck them in the fire pits because now they can burn it.
That's right. They're not going to recycle that shit. Unless they get money back for it, they're not going to recycle it. They're just going to throw it in the fucking trash or in a fire or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess it's better than burning cans.
Well, think about the amount of people that are going to burn themselves, lighting the top of it on fire and then trying to chug it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that makes like a whole new realm of drinking games. That's actually
Exactly.
ingenious.
And you know people are going to do it, and then they're going to sue Carlsberg. You made a cardboard bottle. It's your fault I burnt myself. Not mine.
I wonder how bottle conditioning would work with those.
I don't think you can do it. That would just be... the whole idea is fucking retarded. I mean, stick with bottles and cans. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just so stupid. It's dumb.
Here comes the warning labels.
We need to look at renewable resources, people.
Yeah. I thought cans were the answer to that equation, but apparently no. Apparently they have to get even more stupid about it. I can't see wooden cans, cardboard cans, whatever the fuck, preserving beer like regular cans and bottles would either. I don't think that could work. Like you would probably have the shelf life of orange juice and shit like that are already in those containers.
What do you think they would block the UV? Do you think it would just cause like a massive skunk?
Oh no, they would block the UV. I mean, there's no question there. But to preserve the beer, like you get even your pasteurized orange juice and stuff you get in the supermarket and stuff. They only have a shelf life of a few months, and then you wouldn't be able to, like, I don't think you'd be able to age beers properly in any of that stuff. It would just be for Carlsberg, really. It wouldn't be for any like good beer. You wouldn't want to put a good beer in that shit.
Can anybody think of a carbonated beverage that is sold currently in a cardboard container? Because I can't at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well,
You can get them, but they all have bladders on the inside, like
yeah.
plastic bladders that are holding.
Yeah, but like without, I mean.
Yeah, no, you can't. I don't think you can do it.
Because I never really considered like the juice cartons or whatever, but I can't even think of a carbonated beverage like that. Like without
Yeah,
a
because
bladder.
the carbonation, what the glass and the cap do, is there's no that you can't expand. The same with the can, you just fill the can to the top and you can't expand. But a cardboard doesn't
Yeah,
have the
no.
rigidity of metal or glass, and it's just going to keep expanding.
Yeah.
Unless
Well,
they're thinking that the cylindrical shape of the bottle keeps it from happening.
But weren't they saying something about how these would be unable to break or something like that? I thought I saw something like that in the article where they were saying there was some sort of special thing about these where they wouldn't be able to break and they weren't something you could like necessarily crush or whatever. I don't know. It sounds pretty bullshit to me, but
Make them the shape of a sphere like the bombs in Mario. That'd be good. That'd be cool.
I guess next they'll be coming out with cardboard growlers that you can piss in while you're
oh god.
flying.
You can piss in.
Sorry, brother.
Oh, it's all good. It took me forever to clean that.
I should hope so. I hope you didn't just do one wash and let it sit as that.
I actually used my homebrew disinfectant to clean that up.
Well, is it one of the ones that you just trade in at the brewery? Because if it was, I wouldn't have even
just
cared.
gonna say that.
If it was, I'd be like, here you go, give me a new beer.
Y'all have growler
And then
treatments?
the brewer sniffs it and goes, "Is this what our beer smells like after it goes stale? What the fuck's going
No,
on?"
I'm sorry, I forgot to rinse it out.
Did you say that there's a growler trade-in?
That's what they do here. Is you buy your growler, you bring it home, you pay your deposit on it. When you're done, you bring it back, you hand them the growler, they give you a new growler,
Huh.
and then they'll disinfect that one, and they'll fill it up again.
Yeah.
No, I've never been to a place like that. Usually they have this like giant little drill with sponges covering it. They just shove the fucking growler on top, turbo blast it, and then hand it back to you.
Oh, really? Weird.
Ronald says, I'm here,
Do they do it at a reduced price? Like if you bring your growlers back, like initially you buy a growler for like say $10, then you bring it back and the refill is only $5. Like, do they have that sort of idea?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right.
I think the going price right now in Colorado is you pay about $13 and you get a growler and any of their beers. And then if they're in the craft beer, the Colorado Craft Beer Alliance, then you can bring that growler to any other brewery in the alliance, and then they'll fill it up for about $5.
Okay, cool.
Actually, that's something you don't usually see here. Usually you don't have a brewery that will fill up another brewery's growler.
Yeah, we have that in we have that here in Nova Scotia in a limited capacity for some breweries. So
I know in some states that's it's actually illegal. Like if you're caught, I don't know how the cop would know, but if you're caught with this brewery's beer and this brewery's growler, that technically counts as an open container because it's not from the original manufacturer. So you can actually get arrested for that.
Yeah, I've heard about that in the States where like whatever growler it is transporting the brewery's beer, it has to, like, I mean, you could take another brewery's growler and put a big enough sticker over it to cover their logo from the brewery you got the beer from, but I've heard of weird things like kind of like that.
Yeah, well, when I was driving across country, I picked up a couple growlers in Alabama, and while I was making a few stops, you know, I would drink the growler and everything. I got to Kansas, and there was a beer I really wanted to try, but I didn't want to have to pay the full growler price, so I just handed them the growler. I was like, hey, can you fill this up for me? And they were like, whoa, buddy, back up. That's very illegal.
Yeah, most places up here, either it's a clean your own growler and bring it in and they'll fill it, or kind of the exchange program. I've never seen one of the throw it on the drill and they'll clean it for you kind of things. It's either you're responsible for cleaning it and hopefully you've done a good enough job where you don't infect the beer you're getting, or it's that exchange program where they take care of cleaning it to ensure that...
that might just be one of the differences between American and Canadian craft breweries, where perhaps American craft breweries probably maybe have the more money where they can have a system in place to do that.
Yeah. The Alliance...
They also have a bigger hand in the pie than the Canadian ones do. So the Canadian ones probably don't want you to actually even have a chance of having an infected beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
The alliance things for Colorado sounds kind of cool. Like at least you would know when you're going to another brewery when they would fill something, that you've already purchased, so that you're not kind of wasting everybody's time. Like I think for Niagara, like back home, I probably have like 5 or 6 different growlers, just depending on where I was going. So.
Yeah.
What do I have over there? I have like 22 growlers sitting over there.
Woo. Hello, Jay. How are you doing?
Yes, good day, Jay.
Hello, Lee. Hello, everybody.
What are you drinking, sir?
Sorry about the confusion earlier.
What are you drinking, sir?
Negra Modelo.
Was that one of your go-to beers in your hangout? I didn't get a chance to watch it tonight. So.
No, not really. That's not really one I keep as a standby beer, but
That's just a leftover from your deal with them or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have a few left. I mean, I had $50 worth, but I'm gonna buy the beer, so I used the $50.
Chad, do you want me to get to the couple comments we have here before we get to them?
Do some comments and we'll continue on.
Okay, Winter is Coming says he's having Nickelbrook Cuvée for the first time tonight, and he says, fuck wax tops.
First off, I agree with you with fuck wax tops. Second off, this year's Cuvée, the 2014's Cuvée, was just as good as the original. It was much better than the 2013.
Nice.
Oh, well, cool baby. Can't get through wax. Oh my god.
They don't even, they use the fucking epoxy wax.
Oh.
They don't use real wax. They use like the fucking shiny epoxy bullshit that you have to get a knife out and almost cut yourself in the face to get it off.
It's part of the journey, man. If you ain't willing to do it, don't, you ain't worthy
So,
of the beer.
so what Chad is saying, his ideal beer would be from La Trappe, where they'd have their synthetic corks waxed with the synthetic wax.
Oh, I fucking hate the synthetic corks too.
Aren't those things bullshit? Okay, next one. Dave Zodiac says, good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the invite. Well, you're welcome. Why the fuck are you not here? Chris F. Graves says, I find this week's title almost goading. All the best, lads, and I'll be on once again. I'm flying out to Alberta this Friday and driving back quite a trip, but the back of the car is packed with Alberta beer. Mr. Rhino, I'll bring you some tasty minus double axe head, 11.4%.
Oh yes, I've heard about how
I've
great
had
that beer is.
direct. I've had it.
Whether you like it or not. And Bylog Greg says, good evening, gentlemen. Put in your orders for fresh, cool products, and I'll hand deliver to you at Albino Rhino's Beer Fest. You won't even need to sample any beers at the fest. While I certainly don't love Buzz, Cool, or Stonewall, I can't think of too many better tasting beers priced at $30 to $24, or $30 for a 2-4. Great beers for parties where you don't want to serve your guests expensive great beer.
Or you could go to GLB and get their Golden Horseshoe, or to Nickelbrook and get their Cause and Effect for the same price. And welcome, Mike. For those of you who don't know him, he is the not as cool as Ed version of the Five Paddles.
I'll take that. He's bigger than me.
And he's also told me that you're the one that I have to talk to about the wax bottle. He said he has nothing to do with it. It was all you.
Yeah, right. You know the truth on that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to believe Ed.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I guess we can move on to our other topics. What else do we have here? I got to find my mouse because I'm blind. There we go. Next was there was some pictures floating around the internet over the last few weeks of a house just covered in beer cans, and it said there was like 80,000 beer cans in this house. And Snopes actually went out and did a thing on it because it was such a big thing. And apparently there was 70,000 discarded beer cans and beer boxes in this house. The landlord thought he was great because he always paid his rent on time and nobody complained. He had tunnels going from his bedroom to the bathroom into the kitchen into the front door. And yeah, then he just left the house. First off, that's a lot of fucking metal to return to a scrapyard. Second, I thought I had a drinking problem until I saw pictures of this. And if I had one of my actual webcams, I'd show you the pictures. But I'm on the computer webcam today. But it's beautiful.
How long did this guy live there?
What's it say?
Like 7 years or something.
6 years or something like that.
And he couldn't have put that all down himself in that much time.
Well, it's light beer.
Is it the one that
8
has
years.
the giant?
8 years.
Yeah, still that guy should be dead. He must have had people over at some point contributing to the pile.
What kind of beers did he drink?
Coors Light.
That won't kill anybody.
Wasn't it all like Steel Reserve and shit, or?
Yeah, it's all just cans of cheap U.S. lager.
I think it was all Coors Light.
Yeah,
The
a lot of
article I
Coors.
read. I think I can't remember which particular source the article I read was from, but at the very end it basically just said he has now quit drinking and resumed his normal job. So after eight years of doing this, all of a sudden he's like, meh, I guess I'll go back to work.
Yeah, well, that guy should have took all of his shit with him. He should have just loaded it up in a couple U-Hauls and took it to the recycle and, Oh, that's right, he can't get a deposit on that shit, so whatever. I'm just thinking in Canadian terms, like, take that shit back for a deposit, you pay your rent for the next, year.
Well, if they were cardboard cans, he'd probably be more motivated to recycle them.
Definitely, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. Five Paddles use the cardboard bottles when Carlsberg puts them out. Mike has nothing to say about that.
Answer carefully. It's on the record.
I'm new to this whole online thing. Yeah, I'm new to this whole online thing.
How easily do you think you can wax cardboard bottles?
We used a toilet paper roll on Chad's and filled it with wax. It was an adequate vessel for the wax, and he appreciated it. So it was fun.
Just for anyone that was curious, if he had returned his 70,000 cans to a beer store here in Ontario, he would have been given $3,500 back.
Whew.
Nice chunk of change.
Damn, so
very nice.
Was this like a... I mean, he just did this for 7-8 years and then decided to go back to work. Was this did he have a really good severance package from his last job or something?
He moved out. He moved out and left everything there because he couldn't get anything. It was all under everything.
This guy's mentally ill. I mean, fuck. Was this a science experiment? Is he doing anything with this, or he's just drank for 8 years straight and time to get back to my life? I should at least write a book or something. Fuck, come on.
It's just a hell of a bender.
I guess. Was he trying to shame Hunter S. Thompson or something? What the fuck was this guy doing?
It's one of those drunks where when you get drunk, you just have to keep drinking or else you're gonna die. You just gotta keep drinking so you don't sober up.
Damn.
Sounds bizarre.
I mean, Coors Light should hire him as a new PR guy or something. Fuck.
Yeah,
It can wreck your life.
Well, we have two guys that work in the industry in Ontario, so let's put them on the spot here. Our next little topic. Well, it's not really putting them on the spot, but there's two news articles that came out. One, we'll do this one first, just because this one isn't as hard, and then we'll go to that one that Mark just commented on Facebook. Anyway, so the beer store has had $1.1 million. It's donated $1.1 million to Ontario politicians over a 10-year span, and this is in the Globe and Mail, and they're talking about how this could be why they still have their monopoly and all that. But $1.1 million over 10 years isn't that much money to give them. It really isn't. And if that's all it took to keep their monopoly, I feel bad for all the Ontario breweries that could have bought a monopoly for $1.1 million over 10 years.
I went to the beer store today and found it weird. They took down their macro menu. The menu held on their wall usually.
The top 10 or whatever it is.
Well, it's like 50, like black, just all the macro beers with the prices. That's gone.
Maybe they're just adding to it.
Nothing there.
Oh, mine still has all the walls. I just returned bottles today. And before I hear it from anybody, you know what? I paid that 10-cent fucking deposit. I'm getting that fucking 10 cents back. That's all there is to it. I don't care if I have to walk into the beer store to get it. I'm getting my fucking 10 cents back.
Did you send an invite to Beer Zerkeradian?
Yes, I did.
He's asking to get in, so I don't know.
So, anyone's thoughts on the 1.1 million in donations over 10 years?
I guess it's really not that. Considering how much money they make, I guess it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things.
And that's exactly it. They quoted 662,000 to the Liberal Party.
But it's still.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, York.
I was gonna say, what's worse, the fact that they donate so little, or it's just the fact that it shows what horrors politicians are. So little, and they were bought with that. Disgusting.
Yeah. I mean,
there should have been a lot more money thrown around for complete policy, sort of not change, but sort of keeping along that sort of thing. I don't get it.
I mean, if those politicians really wanted the money, they should just became a senator and get their 800,000 a year or whatever the fuck it is, and and do nothing. Instead, have to actually talk to people and make policies and shit.
Now, how do they? I'm just curious about how they came up with that number. Was that actual donations, or what about all the freebies? All the stuff like the free hall rentals, free beer, all that stuff, right?
That was donations.
Yeah,
they calculated all that.
Because what's not on the record? Like, what has been thrown into other expenses or something that we don't even know about? Because you've seen all these scandals with politicians, especially senators, like writing everything off on expense accounts and shit, taxpayers' dollars or whatever, and then we find out after the fact that so and so had 8,000 flights last year and blew thousands and thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money just to go and have lunch in Montreal or some shit,
Yeah. All I know is it was donations over a 10-year period to all the different political parties, and again, it's not that much in the scheme of things. It's not that much compared to what other lobbying groups have given out, and if they were bought for that, if that's what bought them, it's a sad thing.
Yeah, they're just giving the politicians a blowjob. They're not full out fucking them, The politicians apparently still appreciate the blowjob anyway, so.
Okay, nobody wants that one. Okay, here was the next article from the Globe and Mail as well. Ontario's new alcohol rules won't bring beer to corner stores, Wynne says. And it's still talking about just changing the way the beer store works. There are some quotes in here from different breweries that are gung-ho for the beer store change, and truthfully, if I owned a craft brewery, I'd probably take them up on it just to get my free stores and everything else. But it is showing that it is kind of sowing discontent. There are a lot of craft breweries that I know that want nothing to do with this. There are some that do, and it just kind of seems to be butting heads. I never thought it was going to go to corner stores anyway. I didn't care for it to be in corner stores. If you travel Quebec, you travel the U.S. and all that, you see many corner stores that are just carrying the big guys and no one's carrying the small guys. And you'll find one or two that carry the small guys. It wasn't really going to give the small guys a huge amount of market share. What I wanted was either an LCBO-controlled beer store, like a government beer store for just beer, or allowing people to go out and open up their own stores. That's what I wanted. I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen either. But any thoughts on the no corner stores thing?
Well, just curious, what do the breweries there think about it? Because in Colorado, we have some very specific rules about corner stores that I'll get into in a second. But I was just wondering, what are y'all's thoughts on it? As far as brewers go, sorry.
I would say that, I mean, from our perspective, the concern is that it's primarily macro product. A lot of these corner stores, unless it's a proper craft outlet, they're going to focus completely on, the macro product because it moves. And if you're going to find a place that doesn't turn over quality product regularly, you're going to get stale product, right? Yeah. So who wants a bunch of stale beer?
No one.
Yeah.
Well,
and, you know what, Mike? I fully and 100% agree with you, and that's exactly what I said at the when I was filmed on the Straight Up documentary. Exactly what I talked about on that.
We see it all the time when, I'll go on Untapped or Rate Beer, and I'll see somebody rating a beer that's, let's say it's an IPA and it's 6 months old, and then they give it a shitty rating. Well, yeah, because you let it sit, right? You should drink that beer fresh.
And I mean, a lot of even in the U.S. where you have corner stores or grocery stores or whatever holding beer, usually it's the macro guys because they bully their way into it anyway. I mean, it would be no different here, would it? It would be the big guys saying, stock our beer here, or we're going to go down to the corner store down the street and they're going to have more sales than you.
Well, they also have such a small shelf space that it's just so much smarter for the corner store to sell them.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
There's all right, so the main two places I buy my beer are Alabama and Colorado, and both of them are completely different. In Alabama, I really like that I can go into any grocery store, I can go into any gas station, I can pick up 2 Hearted Ale, I really like that, and they usually keep them fresh, and the big guys, they don't mind supplying that because in Alabama, everything has to go through one of those major distributors, usually it's Anheuser, but I really like that. In Colorado, the Brewer Alliance is actually actively trying to combat selling full-strength beer and craft beer in gas stations and grocery stores because they think that their beer is either going to be mishandled. They also think that in Colorado, you can't have a chain of liquor stores. If you have a liquor license, you can open up your one liquor store. And they think that it'll take away from their ability to sell directly to the business owner. And they think that it'll actually just end up causing a collapse in the beer community.
Yeah.
So,
and I would say they don't even really think that so much as they're putting that story out just to protect themselves, essentially.
Well, see, I mean, it's both sides of the coin. I honestly don't know which side I agree with more. If the brewers truly do think that their product will be mishandled, then I don't want it being in that jeopardized state. However, I do wish I could walk down to the gas station right beside me and pick up whatever beer I would have to drive 30 minutes away to pick up,
Devin's beard's talking to us again. And, you're talking about mishandling beer, and that's a big thing even in the LCBO. The LCBO, of the beer store of the LCBO, in all honesty, the LCBO is a better place to go for beer if you want a selection. The LCBO has 2 very big flaws. They don't refrigerate their beer, so a lot of these craft breweries that are unfiltered, unpasteurized will go bad. I remember my first few beers from Railway City. Disgusting, the first few ones I had, like soured milk, because they were just left on the shelf to go bad over a 3 or 4 week period. Also, they have a great aging. They have a great aging program. We call it neglect. It gets sent to them, and then for months it will sit in a warehouse before it ends up hitting a store. And they have admitted in studies that their warehouses are not refrigerated either. So the whole time they're in the warehouse.
Oh, wow. That's retarded. That's retarded. The warehouses are not refrigerated? What the hell are you doing in Ontario, you savages?
Now, Devin, your thoughts on the no corner stores? He did ask about the brewers' thoughts.
I think the one thing for me, despite I guess working in the industry is that I'm always curious to try everything else everyone else is doing. And I love the idea of an Avondale being able to stock a ton of stuff that I could not normally get. But is it probably going to happen? Probably not. So it's kind of disappointing. Like, if I imagine it would just be bigger brand stuff that does move to be there. But, like, do I like the idea of a single owner maybe getting in some cool stuff? Yeah, like, I'm sure there's a couple out there, but is it probably going to happen? Probably not, even if it were to come to, even if it were an option. So it's kind of disappointing in that sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, it comes down to, we've been told for 30 years now. 30 years. It was in the 80s that we were told corner store sales would happen, and we're still kind of waiting for that. So in this article, she said, changes are coming, just be patient and wait. I don't know how much more patient the Liberals want you to be, because it was the Liberal government that told you 30 years ago that you would get corner store sales, and now 30 years later, you're still being told, just wait, it's coming. Who knows if a change will even come, if she cares enough.
I think a change has to come.
I agree it has to come, but will it come?
We're at a point now in the market where there's so much interest in craft beer that they really don't have a choice in the matter. You look at what happened with Flying Monkeys today.
Yes, that's a topic later today, too.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be on the agenda. And you look at what happened with the Super Bowl ad, the infamous commercial. They just can't get away with doing this for much longer.
Are you saying that they're going to open up corner stores instead of just private mom and pop type stores first?
Well, there's no private mom and pop stuff, but she flat out said tonight corner stores are a no.
Okay.
Which, again, I'm okay with. I didn't care for corner stores anyway. What I wanted was something I know isn't going to happen either. She's just going to do something, I'm sure, to tweak the way the beer store is ran. But really, she could make a government beer store. She could have that beer store plus have an LCBO beer and wine store that just had beer and wine, no spirits, or just a craft store that just carried craft wine, spirits, and beer from all over the world. Instead, she could do that, but
her decision basically boils down to a slightly better compromise, and that's about it. And I mean, that's probably the best you can expect from any fucking politician, anyway.
Like one of the stores I frequent out here, the guy, it's his money invested in the beer, so you bet his beer room is fucking cold. Like, you need a coat to go in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's freezing ass cold. Like, he's very serious about his beer. Like, the mom and pop thing is ideal. But, he's got a lot invested in that place. He's not going to let it go bad. As a government guy might. Well, will. Or does.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, again, when you walk into an LCBO, there are a lot of LCBOs now that all the beer is in a cold room. A lot of the new ones, it's a cold room for all the beer. The older ones, Ferry Street being the best one here in Niagara Falls. Ferry Street is not a new one; it's an older one. So you have a little beer chiller, which has maybe Steam Whistle, Moosehead. The rest of it going to be maybe Cool as well, because Cool sells fast for some reason there.
Bush and Yankee Jim.
And Bush and Yankee Jim, you are right. Bush and Yankee Jim.
Always in there, man.
It's Steam Whistle, Moosehead, Cool, and then everything else in the cold room is macro, the stuff that could last forever on your floor in your basement. I still have that case that I'm doing my experiment with. It's now at 4 years old. The beer's still perfectly fine. It's just starting to get globules now.
People still buy Yankee Jim? Oh my god.
I've got a 2-year-old can of Oland Export that Lee sent me.
Well, I also have a 30-year-old can of Oland Export, so...
Okay.
Glad you really got onto that there, Nick.
I don't even know what Yankee Jim is.
You don't know... Okay, you know what, Big E? When you're here for the festival, I will give you 2 cans of Yankee Jim. I'll give you the Silver Reserve, and I'll find the ice box for you.
York will never talk to you again.
Cans? You know what I love to do with cans like that? I like to throw them and see what happens when they hit the ground, to see what kind of, like, if they just pop in 2 ends or pop in 1 end and spin around. Like fireworks.
I just finished off my last Steel Reserve.
Steel Reserve isn't horrible for what it is. I mean, it isn't. It's not something I want to drink all the time, but for what it is, it's not horrible.
Now, Chad, did you have the 6% or the 8.1?
Oh, I don't even know for sure. It was Steel Reserve 211. I'd have to look it up. I don't know which one I have.
Same name. It's the same name, but there's two variants. There's the 8.1%, which is the original version from 1998, and there's the 6%, which has been out since 2003. So that's what we get in Louisiana is the 6%.
I can look up the video later and see which one it was. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, just curious. Now, I'll put in my opinion real fast.
Go ahead.
I think, of course, I would support the least regulated, the least regulated establishment.
Unfortunately, you're not going to get a less regulated establishment up here. We have to fight and push for everything we get, and any victory right now is I just dropped my opener. Is a good victory, and hopefully things change for the better. I mean, another great thing that she could do is let all the Ontario breweries sell other Ontario brewery beers, or basically all Ontario breweries be a importer that can import whatever they want into their store to sell at their store because they already have a retail license.
But if I ever moved to Canada, to Ontario or Nova Scotia or whatever, and I become a citizen of Canada and I become a politician, you can bank on me, work for you against them to lower, or eliminate beer regulations.
I think he'll become corrupt.
Never. I'll be fighting for you against them.
I was gonna say, like, it's there's got to be money involved, or why would they give a shit? You know what I mean? Like, they're not making all these laws and going through all that trouble just because they're bored.
Yeah, and they
They're obviously
they don't care about all the. Yeah, and they don't care. They don't care about the backhanded backroom collusion that's been going on for years. They're taking advantage of the fact that this stuff's come to light. I mean, that's what politicians do anyway. I mean,
there's a handful of us out there that are fighting for the people. A handful.
Well, like, why would they care if you sell beer in a grocery store or wherever? If you're gonna buy beer, you're gonna buy beer. What the hell does it matter?
I agree.
Well, if you ask the big guys, it's, oh my God, think of the children. Oh my God, think of the children.
That's all.
But they don't even care about that. Like, that's just the bullshit.
It's the hysterical thing because here in Ontario, they have the monopoly. It's owned by them. Any other province in Canada or in the U.S. where they can sell at private stores, they're not saying think of the children. They're just selling to the private stores.
They would sell. They would sell to children if they were allowed to.
That's possibly true.
They would.
But they don't mandate vaccinations, but they'll sell beer.
They're just like the old cigarette companies. They would sell to kids if they were allowed to, but I mean, it's not politically correct for them to do it, and they're not allowed to by law, so they have to take this sort of tact in their PR campaigns to make them look like they're progressive and they actually give a shit. They don't care. The almighty dollar is their bottom line, and if they could sell beer to kids, they would.
Correct.
Well, let's go.
I thought that's what a shandy was.
In Europe, it probably is. Yeah.
Earlier tonight, we were talking about the guy whose house is filled to the roof with what cans?
Oh, Coors Light.
It wasn't Goose Island or something.
He'd be dead. He'd be so dead right now. Like.
I guarantee.
Since I don't have any.
I guarantee he didn't have his house filled with Axe Head.
No.
Maybe
Coors is a better choice than that, most likely. But I'm going to say this right now because I don't have any Innocente or Five Paddles beer here to drink, so I'm going to drink some Swedish beer.
That's a nice
That's
beer.
a great beer.
Very nice beer.
Wow.
what do we have here? Okay, so I'm gonna read you an excerpt from a cabinet meeting. This excerpt comes from a assistant economics minister, economics development minister, and I'm not gonna read the beer store portion because the beer store did the Brewing Association in Canada, which is the beer store. They did a thing first, and then this was the response, and this response actually kind of agitated me. This was something that Flying Monkeys took as an insult, and I probably would as well, just the way it was worded. Anyway, Miss Ann Hogarth, thank you very much, Emma and Doug, for your presentation. We had a chat before I sat down. Of course, I'm from Barrie, and we were very fortunate to have Molson as one of our main employers for many years. True, whenever they're in a city, they are a great employer because they have a huge factory. We were very devastated when Molson left Barrie. Nowadays, we have Flying Monkeys in downtown Barrie. You also have Barnstormer, but hey, whatever. And they are expanding both facilities and markets around the world. That's very exciting for Barrie. They did give me a bottle of chocolate stout that I took home. It was the Chocolate Manifesto, for anyone wondering. As yet, I haven't found anyone who would even try it. However, I thought my grandchildren would think it was pretty good. My grandchildren are 23 and 20, so I wasn't giving it to underage children. Nobody seemed to want to try chocolate beer. I love chocolate, but not beer. Not in beer. I just wanted to say that it's great, all the financial points that you've made about the recycling. We appreciate that. That makes such a difference. It's true that small brewery sales are going up. The trend is now, and of course Creemore is not far from Barrie either. Do you believe the current beer retail system is best for Ontario? And of course you get absolutely so and all that. Thoughts on that little excerpt?
Well, of course, it sounds like somebody that's not into the beer community. It's not a surprise that people did not want to try a chocolate beer because it sounds so bizarre to the average, man on the street or woman on the street. But hey, well, I mean, what does she know? She wasn't trying to slam anybody. She was just saying Molson was a big employer. They brought a lot of jobs. And now we're stuck with an employer that brings a handful of jobs. I don't think she was trying to make any implied put-downs of anybody. But, of course, she might have been, but it didn't seem like it.
I find this whole story really interesting. Chad, you left out the part about, well, the whole commercial for the beer store. And there's a lot of discussion in this piece, very much in support of the beer store, and she basically threw them, lob softball questions, and agreed with everything that they've said. The reality is, I think there's a bit of ignorance here of the craft beer community. I don't necessarily think it was malicious. That's my opinion. But the reality is that she really didn't do much to support, a local business. Whether you like craft beer or not, they employ like 20 or 30 people. They've been in Barrie for a number of years. Very positive influence on the craft beer community. So they should support that. And her ignorance is really kind of at a bad time with what's happening with the beer store right now. It's a really, really tough environment to navigate if you're a big brewer or if there's any inclination that you're supporting a big brewery. It's a tough spot. So she kind of got herself into hot water, I think, by making some kind of stupid comments and then letting them speak ad nauseum about how great they are and just kind of agreeing with them.
Yeah, she did say again after that she thanked them again for all their information. What's the second part of this excerpt? Sorry, I didn't read the beer store excerpt because I did post a link. Anyone that wants to read it, read it. But the beer store ones are just huge. She just does what any company that's trying to make themselves look good does, and that's just keep going and not shut up, because then you get lost. Anyway, Hogarth also said, "I'm very glad to hear that. Not that I believe all polls, but I saw a poll yesterday. I think, and people were asked, do you think the beer store should be a monopoly? I know that historically you've done a lot of interaction with governments, and we appreciate that. You have to have the players in on the discussion. I know that that we are now waiting for Ed Clark's recommendation, and we all await what's going to happen. I'd like to thank you so much for being here and enlightening us about the beer store. Thank you. If you want all players to be there, there should have been the head of the OCB should have been there. John Downing should have been there. Any player in the industry should have been there, or a representative of those players. And just for the numbers, it's 40 employees at Flying Monkeys in Barrie, and 25 from Barnstormer, but some of those are kitchen staff and all that. But that's 65 jobs there.
They never mention like quality of job. It's like, yeah, the Walmart employs lots of people, but who the fuck wants to work at Walmart?
Well, like if you're going to use that, a quality of job, Molson pays its employees fairly well, but most of them are unionized workers. You can't use quality of job as an excuse on it.
Well, I guess it's not as fun though. Like if you look at like Dogfish Head, I never worked at Molson, so I don't know. But it seems like those bigger places are usually fucking boring, You know, to me, like there's no creativity. It's the same fucking grain bill in every mash tun.
Mm-hmm.
Same yeast, same shit every day, over and over again. They never brew a pumpkin beer. You never brew a Belgian beer. They never bottle condition. They never fuck around with their beer.
It's a factory job, really.
Yeah, it's repetitive stress industry bullshit.
You're
definitely not an artisan.
You could move to St. Louis and work for Anheuser-Busch and make shock top honey bourbon barrel aged beer.
Yeah, you could really challenge yourself.
I would love to work at Molson, like I would, but I would much like if you look at like the footage of Dogfish Head and what they're doing, it seems like a lot more fun. But you might be better off to work for Molson with benefits and stuff, I don't know.
I mean, what craft brewery are you going to go to that's going to give you like health benefits and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to work for Brewdog. Brewdog, at least they seem like the people that would let me work without pants.
It's the.
It's just since he's new here, Mike. We're all idiots. We're all idiots, especially the French one.
Well, then I'll fit right in.
Especially the French one.
Have we done comments since the last time I...
No, I'm going to unplug so you can read the comments.
Okay, so I'll just go back here. Lou Brew says, quickly Googling, I found that Boston Beer sold 2.7 million barrels last year. Stone, 287,000 apparently. So that's the difference. Jamie Smith says he's drinking Sierra Nevada Beer Camp Hoppy Lager tonight. Lee Poznaski says he wishes he could drink as much beer as we do, but he has a low tolerance. Greg Bylog says he gets 10 cents for a bottle under 630 milliliters, 20 cents for a bottle over that, 10 cents per can under 1 liter, and 20 cents over that. Is there actually cans that are over 1 liter?
Yeah, you can get the big oil cans.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Strawberry.
Oh, wow, awesome, okay. Bylog says, agree on the JLB, Golden Horseshoe, disagree on the Nickelbrook cause and effect, nor would I drive 45 minutes to get a cheap 2-4. Although, for a typical party, I buy 2-4 of both GLB, Golden Horseshoe, and Buzz, and usually the Buzz is all gone, and I've got a bunch of GLB left over. I'll save you the trouble. Yes, my guests probably have stupid palates, but I gotta be a good host. He says he doesn't shop at the beer store typically, but if they have a product I want that I can't get at the LCBO, I will go there. I don't see why anyone would be so against them that they give you shit for returning empties.
I'm one of the few guys that isn't destroy the beer store. What I want is to destroy the beer store monopoly. I don't care if the beer store exists. I think the beer store still would have a place in an open and free environment of liquor sales. I think they would still be an important part of the recycling factor of the beer industry and the liquor industry. I think it would be still the #1 seller of macro brews in the world. And they still have such a great distribution and location network that some craft brewers may still use them for things. I mean, they don't have to disappear. They just have to not hold the monopoly by the balls and say, guess what, you can't do anything.
Totally in agreement there. He says he's just glad the government is protecting me from having easier access to alcohol. Okay, great. If you want the government to protect you from that, that's your prerogative. He says, I'm dreaming here, but I would love it if everyone became privatized. The LCBO can still exist, but it should be... But so should private liquor stores, as well as alcohol sales and grocery stores, corner stores, etc. Instead of hidden taxes, let the breweries set the prices without any hidden fees and just add 13% HST like nearly every other item we buy. And he says, run for president of Canada 2016.
Oy vey.
So who makes the decisions on what beers get sold at the LCBO?
The LCBO.
LCBO.
Yeah.
So why don't, like, this is, it blows my mind. Why don't they say, hey, why don't we get someone who knows about beer, and they can come on here and say, Chad, they can give you a phone call, offer you a fucking job, and say, what beer should we buy? And they can pay you to tell them what fucking beers to buy.
They have those know-it-alls already. They got those know-it-alls.
Yeah, they have lab testing that has to get done. They have taste testing and lab testing, and then you have to go and sell it after they okay it. Then you have to try and sell it to the different branch. It's almost like franchise selling after that. After they okay it, you have to go and find stores that will carry it.
And of course, the bottom line is how much is Molson going to sell compared to like Cameron's?
I was pretty sure they would put like 3 beers on an altar and have a huge orgy, like eyes wide shut, and decide which beer they want to sell.
And just to your comment, the beer lady that works at Ferry Street, she actually watches my videos and decides on a lot of beers from those, which really screws me over because that's the place I go to get a lot of my beers.
Because you've already had them.
But by the way, since my company does deal with the LCBO, we basically every brewery or any liquor brand has salespeople that deal with the LCBO. So while the LCBO has people who decide shit, ultimately it's about profit. It's about sales. It's about what they're gonna move. It's about generating money. And they're gonna, like for example, Duvel will come in with their guys, and who knows? I'm sure maybe at some point we'll get to see Boulevard in Ontario or something like that. Say, oh, okay, we'll sell you all this stuff at massive amounts for whatever price, and oh yeah, that looks good for us. And then they'll do their testing. The testing just sort of the red tape to seal the deal, but to finalize stuff. Just because temperance, right? And they're protecting the people, so we gotta do this testing and whatever however much that costs them to do that. Again, just more money generation for the LCBO. It's a joke, dude. It's a joke. And to the guy who made the first comment, I don't know, we were talking about the comparing who's the next Stone Brewing, throwing out volumes. That's not what we were talking about. We're talking about who's the next one. So that guy can shut the fuck up with a stupid comment, by the way.
What? Well, no, we did ask what the barrels were, what the comparison of the barrels were.
But we're talking about who's the next one. If the next guy is 5 miles behind, it doesn't matter. He's still the next guy.
I don't like you anymore, because I was the one who asked that comment. I was the one who asked that question. I just wanted to know who was going to be the next Stone. I wasn't, or the next fucking Sam Adams. I wasn't,
No, that's a fine question. We didn't. I mean, if you ask, well, hey, because volume.
You know who's going to be. Who's going to be the next Sam Adams? 5 Paddles.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
I mean, so Mike already hates people who ain't carrying his product? Oh, what a dick.
The story I remember the most about the LCBO, I think it was Flying Monkeys. They wouldn't sell their beer for like a year or two because it has the word Smash Bomb on it or something.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yes, the Smash Bomb.
Because apparently that's offensive.
I think it was an old logo with like an A-bomb or something that they didn't care for.
What were they afraid of? Offending the Japanese or something? Like, what the fuck's going on?
I think it was because it was really close to 9/11 or something.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Yeah, because they threw atomic bombs into the World Trade Towers. Yeah.
I thought it was something to do with promoting binge drinking, though, too, with the name.
So, okay. So, I really associate nuclear weapons with lots of drinking. Yeah, that's just what I think of.
It's the end of the world. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, okay. Fucking goddamn stupid bullshit. It's just so stupid. The people who think this up, they're thinking this up to make money somehow. They're not thinking it up because there's some sort of moral objection to it. It's just fucking bullshit. They just make excuses. And they get the, people like soccer moms and stuff going, yeah, I agree with that. You guys should do that.
I think Lee's right. It's like a shakedown.
Well, there were a couple, I think, breweries that had problems. Like, I think Railway City, their, honey beer was originally honey elixir.
That's right.
And the LCBO kiboshed that because it made it seem like it was a medicinal kind of thing.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
And I believe there was another brewery that originally proposed using, like, a cherub on their label. And the LCBO kiboshed that because they thought it looked too childlike, and that this.
Oh yeah, so that would be the beer all the pedophiles buy.
Oh,
yeah.
So they founders.
How long did Ackroyd's Crystal Skull vodka not make it to the LCBO? Because the Skull would make kids want to buy it. Well, that $70 price tag, kids aren't fucking buying it.
They're not buying that shit at all.
Okay, they're buying the Prince Igor. That's what they're buying if they want to get drunk. How do I know? Because that's what the fuck I bought.
Yeah, I'm not buying Ackroyd shit. I'm definitely not buying his shit.
I was wondering why we got those little mini skulls, and I thought, wow, that's expensive for the little one, and now I know why it's expensive in the big one too.
Fucking so dumb.
Did any of y'all read that story about a year or two ago about this guy who works for the United States Trademark Office?
Yes, the guy that does all the labeling in there.
Yeah, he's like one man in the whole United States, and he's constantly rejecting people's beer labels and beer titles, and he comes up with these like intricate and inane reasons, and he sends it back to him. You have to change this. You have to change this, and he does. He's been doing it for like over 30 years. He just does it because he just has the power to do it.
Someone needs to make a documentary.
But things like Long Dong made it through with a guy standing there naked with a bottle in front of his thing.
Yeah, someone needs to make a documentary on this guy. That's a fucking movie I would watch.
No, he actually every news article I've ever read about that guy, he's apparently amazingly interesting and crazy at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's why I want to watch it. I mean,
they made a movie. It's called The Wizard of Oz. That's what it is.
But I mean, the LCBO has the same thing. Every place that has a government regulation on top of your liquor is going to have the same type of thing. Again, like the honey elixir, it wasn't allowed to be called elixir because it was medicinal, which is I find hysterical because the Saint Peter stuff can actually.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, but Dr. McGillicuddy's peach schnapps.
At least in your case, you're dealing with a board. In America, we're dealing with one man.
That's insane. Like
one man who decides this is appropriate and this is not, and that you can't appeal it, you can't override it.
Yeah, but a lot of stuff slips through the cracks too. I was reading not too long ago that there was one of the things is that it can't involve anything with drugs or drug paraphernalia or anything like that. One company submitted something related to marijuana, whether it was like dank or 420 or whatever, and they got rejected. And then, like a couple months later, another company submitted the exact same name, and it was approved. So, I mean, that one guy, he's in control of everything, but because of that workload, there's little slip-ups here and there.
Right, he's probably sleepy that day.
and I mean, when you think about that, like when you hear it's just one guy, I mean, you would think it would be a committee of people. Like usually it's a committee of people deciding weird shit like this, right? But the idea that it's one guy, it just sounds like his position, his job has fallen through the cracks. It's just like some atrophied muscle somewhere that apparently still has power for some reason, even though no one actually gives a shit. And it's just weird. It's just so weird. One guy has his power, like, fuck.
Maybe they cloned him.
He's a little Hitler sitting in the middle of Spiderweb somewhere, deciding about what beer names go and what don't. I mean,
craft beer matrix.
Yeah, and if you read the article, he'll write these responses to people. They're like 10, 12 pages of why this can't be this way, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes people will write back to him and say, I don't agree, and they'll go through these 18 points. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll approve it.
Because, I mean, this guy has his, apparently he's, you know, throwing his own prejudices and everything into it. I mean, that's why you want a committee, so you can have a lot of different viewpoints coming into it and have a consensus instead of just having one guy sitting there like Joseph Stalin deciding every goddamn thing about a fucking beer, right? Like,
well, the problem with that is usually most American politics are circle jerks. So if they did make a committee, it would probably just be literally clones of that guy.
Yeah.
100 times more pizza.
Okay, three things before we go on to another topic. Number one, Devin, if your boss is tired tomorrow, tell him to stop spam emailing me because I've got like 15 emails from him in the last hour. He should be sleeping. He's an old man. He should be sleeping. Number two, should I drink another beer?
yes.
Yeah.
Just another beer? No, like several other beers.
1, 2, 3, or 4. That's what's on the table in front of me.
4 more beers.
4.
4 would be pumpkin.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. See, I think I choose wisely.
And, I don't even remember what number 3 was. I don't even think I actually had number 3. I was just saying I did.
I would love to know how you guys have all these like little fancy pictures at the bottom of your screen. And
you go over to, you move your mouse over to the left side of your screen, and something will pop up, and you look down the list, and it says Hangout Toolbox. Click that.
The Viceroy of BeerTube says that he cannot have a little picture at the corner of his screen.
I want to be able to.
I fucking overrule you. I want Devin to have a picture on the little thing on the screen.
I want to be able to pee in growlers and stuff.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Not when I'm not talking.
That's an expert maneuver.
That hashtag is Americans pee in growlers. And Michael, have you ever peed in a growler?
Most definitely.
Hey!
Did you ever clean it so you could put beer in it again? Because he did. He
No,
did.
that I haven't done.
What's the point?
It should have became the pea growler. It should have became the pea growler forever.
No, remember that thing I was talking about earlier where I can only get certain growlers filled in certain states by certain breweries? That's my favorite brewery in Kansas. If I never cleaned it, I would never be able to get beer from them again.
Then you take your least favorite brewery and you pee in that growler.
All of my growlers are from my favorite breweries.
Okay. So another Globe and Mail article. This one is, I want to be a craft brewer. What will my salary be?
Oh, yeah.
So he talks about a lot of things, right? The information is coming mostly from Gary McMullen, who is the president of the OCB, also Muskoka Brewing Company, if you want to get further in that. He's actually a kind of cool guy, so whatever. Salary, he says, ranges from $15 an hour to just under $30, so $30 to $60 a year. If you're a brewmaster, depending on the size of the company, you could be making anywhere from $90,000 to excess of $100,000 a year. I think he's giving a little high remark from the things I know. But by the numbers, there's approximately 75 operating breweries in Ontario. Now, some people have cried about that, saying there's over 100 in Ontario. Well, I'm going to guess that he's going by brick and mortar breweries, because you know what? That's the amount of breweries that are operating. If you're a contract brewery, you're not really operating. You're just getting space somewhere else and then selling your beer. And then lastly, the education. This is the one that Mark Murphy commented on my page. In 2012, Alberta-based Olds College partnered with the Canadian Food and Wine Institute at Niagara College to create Canada's first Brewmasters and Brewery Operations Management College diploma. I believe it was 2 years before that it was actually started in, or 1 year. It started in Niagara a year or two before that, in either 2011 or 2012. So what Mark's comment is that I love that they claimed Olds was the first one before Niagara College, and there has been a few after that. But yeah, so this is out there. telling people what to expect. I think it's kind of good to have it out there because a lot of people think that they're going to come out and make huge amounts of money right away. Most people don't seem to think that they're going to be working, the bottling line or the packaging or anything like that at the beginning, that they're just going to be making huge amounts of money, especially right out of college. I've actually talked to a lot of brewers that are like, yeah, that we had a Niagara College kid come to us and want to get a job. And we're like, okay, well, this and this is what you're going to do. And he goes, well, I want to do this for this much money. Well, you're going to find another job then. It's not happening here. And, yeah, so thoughts on the article, thoughts on that stuff.
It's the reality of the market, I'd say. I mean, there are no good jobs for young people right now, so do it because you love it. That's the only thing I could recommend to people. It's not easy. There's nobody handing out $80,000 anymore. It's not 2003 or even or 1997 when the job existed for college grads. It's different times, man. So
it seems like an industry where you have to make your job worth something. You actually have to work at it to make your job worth money and to pay off in the end. Like, it's one of those things. It's not a guaranteed walk into the industry and make lots of money kind of bullshit. It's you got to be interested in actually doing it.
That's the problem with this colleges tell the fucking kids that shit. When I went to college, they told me carpenters are going to make $40 an hour. To start, and it's all once you get your ticket, right, and then it's all bullshit.
I think the thing is to say it's getting into the craft beer industry is not a trade. It's not something it's not like carpentry or something like that where you go to school for it and you immediately get put into a position or whatever. It's
neither is a trade. A trade isn't like that either.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not something as structured as quite structured as that though. Like it's not an industry you just jump into and you're guaranteed to advance.
It's like an art. It's a craft. I mean, it's something you do because you want to do it. Because if you're good at it, you'll be successful. I mean, how can you go into something that you just want to do it because it's a job, and then expect to be paid lots and lots of money? If, it's something you pour your heart into.
Yeah, if you want to do that, go work at the macros, right? If you want to just have a job in the industry, do that. But when they're small guys, they're artists. I mean, yeah, they want to make money, no question. But some of these guys aren't making money, and you're going to be like the Van Goghs and all those starving artists for a little while, and you have to pay your dues. And just like you're not paying your dues when you're, doing the hard stuff. It's not. I mean, there's, it's rewarding. Hopefully, at the very least, But it's not a money making. Sure.
That's right. And then you can get the buyout.
Yeah, like LC, like people like Russian River and the Alchemist, or the companies like that. They didn't become successful because they made shit beer. They made awesome beer because they started with the craft first.
Yeah, exactly.
I think these guys would be better off starting their own places. I mean, that's what we did. We're a bunch of homebrewers, self-taught. 5 of us, and we could have went the route of getting a bunch of investors and opening up a big shop and letting them control us. Yeah, we'd produce more beer, or we could have tried to get a job, filling kegs at like an Amsterdam or a brewery like that, to work our way up to maybe an assistant brewmaster at one point, and then years later possibly a brewmaster. But you really got to earn that. Or you start your own shop for, next to nothing, and it's small, and it's humble, and it's hard fucking work, but you do it, and you love every moment of it.
And the greatest thing about you guys growing is that you're going to have beer on the shelf for longer than a day or two, so you'll actually be able to get it.
Yeah, that'll be a plus. Yeah.
So Mike would say he's more of a proponent of trial by fire and actually earning what you get.
They succeeded. I mean, think about it. How many beers did you guys put out in your first year?
About 80.
Yeah, in their first year, and everything that I had by then was nothing failed. It was all passable to my palate. It was all stuff that I would buy again, or if I wouldn't buy again, I would drink again. It was all stuff that I was excited about. There was a few things that I was more excited about than it ended up being once I actually tried it, but hey, that's trial and error, and everybody's palates are different, but they make some great beer, and they make huge amounts of variety of beer. And that's the greatest thing about it. Every week you can get something new from Five Paddles. Sadly, their size. Yeah, we had a box, and we couldn't even get through it all. Ed brought a box, and he just threw it on the floor and goes, "Review these." So he's sitting back there drinking beers that he's finding in my fridge while we're reviewing Five Paddle beers, and we ran out of time to review them all because there was just too many beers in that box, and they were all good to any point of extent. I mean, the Bon Chai I think was the one that was disliked the most, but I loved it. It was a great beer.
Thanks for the product placement. Your check's in the mail.
Can I ask Mike a couple questions? I'm curious.
Go right ahead.
Okay. One, Mike, how was your family receptive to you guys taking a risk, or you personally taking a risk, like going your own route with your own business? And secondly, what is success defined as for Five Paddles? Because Chad said you're successful. What do you guys define as success?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm a commercial lender by trade. So, you know, I had a pretty good idea of what the numbers would look like behind the operation, and I kind of built it so it couldn't really fail. And that sounds like a stupid kind of thing to say, but the reality is that we built it for next to nothing, and we did that with a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat equity. So my family was okay with the measured risk that I took. And, you know, I mean, we've done a good job keeping the lights on. I mean, for us, that was, when we opened this thing, you got 5 home brewers that just want to brew and sell their beer, which is a dream, by the way. And we would have been happy if we could just pay the rent. And that was our goal when we opened. And we got absolutely blown away opening weekend. And it's just been an uphill climb ever since. We can't brew enough beer. You know, and that's partly a testament to the environment, that there's so much demand right now for craft beer. There are a lot of breweries, of course I won't name names, that are brewing shitty beer, and they're selling it out like crazy because they can. There's so much demand for it right now. We focus on the craft. We focus on doing things that, you know, we like to do. We don't typically brew to win awards and, you know, always brew to style. We brew weird stuff because we think it'd be cool. We have a wasabi wheat coming out tomorrow. You know, we're working on some ideas.
Get a bottle of that to Tanya for me.
Yeah, all right. But the fact of the matter is, you know, everybody defines success differently. For us, it was, can we keep the lights on? And now 4 of us are full time. So in a year and a half. So it's been a great story, and you know, awesome. I mean, yeah, I mean, it blew us away. I never ever expected that.
So this basically turned from a hobby. I mean, basically, it was a hobby. If you're just trying to keep the lights on, that's what it is, right? But now,
yeah, absolutely.
So now it's a definition change. Now that you guys are having success in that regard, now you guys moving the bar up now?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to. You know, for us, we're always trying to improve our product. So we fool around with a bunch of different things. You know, new things in the market that we hear about, styles that we think we'd like to try, new yeast strains. We're home brewers, right? So we do the same thing we did as home brewers, just at a little bit larger scale. And I mean, you know, that's a kind comment. I mean, our batches are less than 300 liters a batch, right? So, you know, we're not huge by any stretch. We plan on, you know, continuing to grow, but we're tiny, right?
Yeah. You're still under 300 liters with the expansion?
Currently, yeah, we're building a 10-barrel right now.
You know, I remember Ed telling me what equipment you bought. That's why I was asking. That's all.
Yeah, we're working at it. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Mike, thanks for answering my question. I was really interested about the family perspective, and you guys, I mean, obviously got a good head on
on your shoulders to set that up, because I worry so many people go into this thinking, yeah, I can brew beer, but they don't have the business sense to make it work, and that's awesome to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to actually hit Ed with these questions. These are the questions I'm going to ask. Sorry, Ed, Mike. I'm sorry, I'm drinking now. I'm going to hit Mike with these questions. I'm going to hit Mike with these questions that Ed is going to have to answer at some point, too. All of you guys are going to have to answer at some point when I actually get my blind ass up to Whitby to do my beerumentary with you guys. Now that you've moved, it's actually the best time to do it. It's just finding a time that me and my wife have the same time off to do it. Anyway, if you can, here are the questions.
Chad, excuse me, I'm going to get off now, but I appreciate it, okay?
Jay, you have a wonderful night.
Y'all too.
Cheers.
Bye, Jay.
Very interesting, and take care, everybody.
Cheers.
You too.
Should have been all y'all.
I have all y'all.
All y'all have a good night.
I have to make sure to actually introduce everybody to everybody new, but I don't think like that. I'm weird. Anyway, so first and foremost, what do you like the most about the industry? What do you dislike the most about the industry? These are the questions I ask at every beerumentary.
Is this for everybody or?
No, this is for you. This is what I ask brewers. I do a get to know the brewer, and I have like 10 questions that I ask them, and that's the first two.
Best, I mean, creativity, camaraderie. Right now, the mentality is all ships rise together. At least on the craft side, that's starting to change. We're seeing a bit of it. Copyright infringements on names, people on each other's turf. 10-for-1 keg deals. It's starting to rear its ugly head, and I think it will continue as you have more of the larger players entering the craft segment. There's a lot of money that's coming into the industry, and it's blind money. It's people that are putting cash in, hiring a Niagara brewer, and saying, "I want." No, and no offense to Niagara brewers. There are a lot of them.
No. I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about because of my. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So and then they're brewing a blonde, an amber, and they have a couple of seasonal beers, and away you go, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that if they brew a good quality product, but the reality is that the market is starting to change. So I would say it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's what I like the most, and I think it's kind of what I hate the most because I'm going to lose what I like potentially. We're lucky. We've got a lot of friends in the industry. We've built relationships. I run a group on Facebook for, called Nano and Microbrewers of Canada, and the idea is to network and talk about, production, challenges, you name it. There'll be a question out there. Who can get Simcoe hops this month? And so we'll do hop trades. We do all kinds of stuff. So, it's a really, really tight industry in that sense. But, we may lose some of that as things get more competitive.
Okay. First off, Lee, look at the chat window. You'll like that because that's what was being. Yeah. Anyway, favorite style of beer, least favorite style of beer.
Oh man, that's a hard one. I would say favorite style now is probably an ESB. Would have been a risk back in the day, and but I'd say ESB probably now. Least favorite style. I don't know, generic macro lager, I guess. that's a given.
You're so lucky. Jason Ronald left. So lucky.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he left because I told him what our next topic was going to be.
Budweiser.
Yeah.
That's his thing. Yeah.
Next, weirdest ingredient you've ever used to brew with?
We had a well, we've done. Oh man, we've done so many. Jalapeno beet, wasabi wheat coming out tomorrow. We've done a lobster stout. That one was off the books, but we did that one. We've done. Oh shit! I did a pumpkin cranberry Chipotle beer last year.
How was that?
Spicy, spicy and spritzy. The cranberry really took out a lot of the body, and so you got a really kind of, pop-like texture, like fizzy. It was interesting. I wouldn't have done the cranberry again.
It's great. It's great that you're explaining all of them, but I need one item because when I'm done all my brewery videos, when I've decided I'm not traveling anymore, I'm making a beer with every ingredient every brewer has said.
All right, wasabi.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, that's gonna wipe out your beer.
It is. It is because I actually have the ability to get real wasabi root. Actually, not powdered stuff. I can actually get the root.
Well, can you
get
us some then?
Do you want some? I can talk to my connections.
For sure. Yeah.
And your wasabi beer, if Tanya gets it for me, you're going up against the only other wasabi beer I've had, which is from Innocente over there with Devin.
Ooh, they make some good beer.
That was with Clifford as well.
Oh, with Brad?
Yeah, the wasabi porter. It was with Clifford, Brad Clifford, and us.
Yeah, Brad's a really solid brewer. Good buddy of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Malt Maniac, Hophead, or Yeast Beast?
I'd say probably still Hophead. I tend to kind of work with the seasons, but I do like my hoppy beers. I'm drinking one of ours right now. I don't know if you can see it. That's our Dominatrix Black IPA, which...
is there any more of those left in the shop right now?
There's a small amount, yeah. But
I think you need to sell Tanya a bottle of that, too, for me.
All right, we'll put one aside.
Because Black IPA is the IPAs I love the most. I have every Black IPA I can get.
We've been having some better luck with our...
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, I was going to say I need to set up a safe word before I do the review.
Yeah, we've been having better luck with our dry hops. We've been doing a bit of experimenting, and we're pretty happy with the recent results, and we think that it's really going to pull things forward. So, yeah.
Okay, 3 beers for the rest of your life. 1 from you, 1 from another craft brewery, and 1 from a macro brewery. Go.
Well, for us, Midnight Paddler, for sure. Another beer I would say would be Fuller's ESB. I could get away with London Pride too. And a macro beer. Oh shit. Let me think. I don't know what's the generic lake port. I drank a lot of that growing up, so.
The Pilsner or the lager, usually.
The lager, yeah.
Okay, and lastly, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Probably jerking off. I'm married.
Right there, he is
I applaud that answer.
He is fully allowed.
I'm married with 3 kids and another on the way, so that's a valid answer.
Yeah. Congrats, Mike.
Not just is it a valid answer, it just cemented you as a guest here anytime you want to be here.
Fantastic.
Yes, and let us welcome Matt in and ask him what he's drinking.
over here, I pee in growlers. Did it by peeing in a growler all night, and Lee's because he's the fucking king of beer too. He has to be here. Yeah. Should we do this with Devin now that he's actually technically part of the industry?
Well, no. Let's just welcome Matt first and ask him what he's drinking.
Well, yes, Matt. What are you drinking? Sorry, I saw you come in and we were in the middle of something, so I just kept going.
Drinking, besides my own urine out of a fucking growler, I'm drinking Devil's Claw's Hell on Wood.
I'm never gonna live this down.
No, you're not.
A bourbon barrel-aged American barley wine.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, out of everybody here, would you rather an American or an English barley wine? Me and
English.
English.
American.
Hands down.
After you've had like Thomas Hardy, like if you answer American, your palate is stupid.
No. It's because American barley wines, they usually have a little bit more experimentation.
I'm drinking the fake one too right now.
That's an excellent fucking beer.
Yeah, who sent me that? Was it you that sent me one of those?
Yeah, you asked me to because I think I sent one to Lee. Then Lee got the real shit, but you said, "Oh, I want the."
I didn't want you to go out and pay the money for the real shit. I drink the fake shit. I don't care.
I was blitzed out of my mind when I reviewed that beer.
Well, how many years are we talking? I mean, is something like a 3-year-old English versus a 10-year-old American?
You know what? After having John Downing's Rudolph's Red Nose Ale over and over again every year and having it barrel aged and this and that, I'm going to go English every year. And having Frostquake from Wellington made me love Wellington again.
English style's where it's at for me, man. I mean,
it just
needs to be sweet.
It just pops. It just the coconut from the barrel, if it's barrel aged, just pops. The vanilla from the barrel, if it's barrel aged, just pops. And if it's not barrel aged, the malt and the dirty hops just mix so much better than the malt and fruity hops. It doesn't mix as well to me.
Yeah, it's just personal preference. I think it ages better.
When you have an English barley wine that really ages well, whether it be a Hardy's or like a really nice old J.W. Lee's or something like that, when people talk about having like coffee and caramel in their beer, then they taste one of those. They're like, okay, now I actually tasted coffee and caramel. You know what I mean? It's like a bomb like that.
Yeah, that being said, I appreciate American barley wines. It's just like some of the ones I've had have been like just too hopped. Like it's like I have to sit on this for like 3 or 4 years just for the fucking hops to die down so I can actually taste the beer.
Oh, the GLBs.
Well, I think that was what makes American barley wine so interesting. Is that they are just a little bit more experimental. You can have some that almost reach hop levels of IPAs, and then you have some that are just dark fruit bombs.
Yeah, it's a weird thing for me. Like, if you put a ton of salt on ice cream, it would make me like ice cream.
Well, I mean, salt goes into the ice cream making process. I don't know. It's all just.
What I'm saying is, if ice cream was super, super salty, I understand. Rock salt in milk ice cream. You know what I mean? But
well, I don't know. I mean, that's like the whole principle of the craft beer thing. It's all about experimentation, and then it's also, when it comes to like reviewers and everything, it's all about finding, being as unbiased to the style as you can.
And that's the beautiful part about it. People love what they love, and you can't fucking say right or wrong or anything indifferent.
Yeah, it's all personal preference. I mean, just for me personally, it's like English barley wines all the way. I appreciate the flavor profile. I appreciate the deadening of hop flavor compared to American ones. I don't want as much hop smacking me in the fucking face. And I mean,
I do think it is incredibly important for people to understand that there is a drastic difference between American and English barley wine.
Yeah. And I mean, there's plenty of great fucking American barley wines as well. I mean, it's just it's almost a splitting hairs sort of argument. It's just personal taste is what it boils down to, really. You get great beers on both sides of the pond. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a goddamn fight or anything like that, right?
Yep. Now, before we get to comments, because I'm going to let Lee go to comments next, I'm going to just, because, again, Mike is new to everybody here, I'm going to introduce everybody. First, on the very end, you have, well, I don't know if it's the very end for you, but Beer Snobs United, hashtag Americans Piss in Growlers from Colorado. Then we have Beer Zircadian from Alberta. We have Devin, who used to be Colgate on the Albino Rhino Beer Review, and he now is affiliated with Innocente. We have Big E. Big E, Reeves himself. He is in the spirits industry. We have Guy from Beer Guy Reviews, who used to be from downtown Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and he likes very, very dangerous beers with orange candy. We have Lee Russell. I know, Lee Russell, Hoogly's Beer Reviews, El Harlock, again, the king of beer tube, as he was quoted to be one time. Matt, Massive Beer Reviews from Pennsylvania. Nick, Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews from New Brunswick, and myself. And again, Ed got to meet most of these people in this chat here. Most of them, not all of them, but a good deal of them. And yeah, we made fun of him all night, and his wife loved it.
Yeah.
As it should be.
But Matt was, or Ed was a very good sport.
And if you come down with Ed this year, you'll get to meet us too. And if you guys stay for Sunday, Sunday's going to be the drink like a fish day because that's my 33rd birthday.
We're all going to be dead. We're all going to be dead. We're going to be stabbing each other.
Be an ambulance or two.
We're going to be pulling out knives and stabbing each other.
Ambulance, you're all going to be in my room. I'm going to give you a brewing bucket, and you can puke in the brewing bucket.
Yeah, Canadian dead's like fake dead. That's whatever.
That's right. That's right. I mean, the stab won't tell me nothing.
Yeah, as long as Paul doesn't bring a jag up, we're all okay.
Yeah, because American dead is real dead. You guys die, you die like little.
Yeah.
You're done.
Alcohol
We're
poisoning.
like the elves
fucking
in
zombies.
We're like the elves in Lord of the Rings. It's like, we die, but we just go to like this better place. The humans die, they just die.
Yeah, I like that. We're like the elves in Lord of the Rings. Very, very nice, organized, neat.
And just a reminder to everybody viewing right now, this is a live show. If you have questions, throw them out.
I actually had to convince Ed to come on Sunday, so he's coming for Chad's birthday. So I don't know. Well, Dougal from Innocent Gun should be there. Well, okay then.
Dougal Sharp is intending to fly here. I'll stay here until the 5th of May just so he can drink with me on my birthday. And I told him if he does that, I may get drunk and beat him up for stealing my recipe for the Cherrywood Canadian Cast.
well, if that happens, I'd like to film that. So.
I'll film it in HD. I'll
be offering
he also said that he would play Nightmare with me. So, Nick, you may be having to drive your boss home drunk out of his mind after being beat up by a 300-pound albino playing Nightmare with him.
In luchador masks. Everything must be done in luchador masks, I will say. If there's going to be any fighting or violence, it has to be. But to defend American barley wines, I will say Barrel-Aged Bigfoot is fantastic beer. It stands up against a lot of English barley wines.
I would accept that.
Okay.
King of Beer Tube, my thing in the sink.
Okay, John Riley was John from Kingston. He's no longer from Kingston, but John anyway. He says cheers. Reviewing Under the Influence says, good day, I'm drinking Brewster's Blue Monk barley wine. Politicians are just a bunch of circle-jerking money grubbers anyhow. Pretty much someone's going to have to buy out the beer store. Bylog says, and Greg, why the fuck are you not in here? He says, I bought Crystal Skull once, wanted the bottle. The vodka was okay. Yeah, it's not special. But now I serve my cheap vodka from an awesome bottle.
just to add to that, I actually did that once. I got a bottle of a Louis XIII from work, and I put my crappy cognac in Louis XIII, and I serve it to people every once in a while just to see what they do, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so good! Oh my god!"
Dave Zodiac says, I watched your review of Innocent Gun, both albino and Louisiana beer reviews a while ago, and I decided to pick up a 6-pack last Friday and try it out. Boy, was I ever glad I did. Good stuff, and I'll be getting more of that fantastic beer again. Thanks for the reviews, guys.
From now on, buy the cans, cheaper, and the taste is so much better than the bottles.
He says your guys' reviews really helped him with introducing him to new stuff. And Reviewing Under the Influence has a question for Beers Canadian. Have you tried any of Brewster's stuff? Highly recommended. The Oil Berta Stout, apparently, is...
You mean like the Brewster's Brew Pub?
Yes.
A long time ago, we had one in Lethbridge, and I went there and had one of their wheat beers. I was quite young, and I took it for granted and thought it would, and then they shut it down. So we don't have that brew pub any longer. So I have not. That's dope.
Okay. So we have the last topic I have up before we go to whatever stupidity we go to and whatever viewers tell us to do. The Budweiser Super Bowl commercial. Okay, so if any of you have not seen it, the link is everywhere. The link is all over. I have the link on my Facebook page for the Albino Rhino Beer Review. I also have the link to two different spoof commercials. They came out super quick. I didn't expect them to come out on Monday and Tuesday, respectively. One from just the Craft Brewers Alliance of the U.S. and one from Ninkas. I tried one of their beers before and I didn't like it, but their commercial is amazing. Also, to that same end, Miller Coors came out and joined on the fight. And Miller Coors came out with a Super Bowl ad thing saying that all beer should be fussed over. Again, the Super Bowl ad that we're talking about is Budweiser saying that their beer is a beer made for beer drinkers, people that like beer, people that don't want to fuss over their beer. Craft beer drinkers make pumpkin peach beer and sip on their... the funny thing about the pumpkin peach beer is there's only two breweries I know that do it, and that's Abita and Elysian. And they just bought Elysian or Elysian. They just did. But again, Miller Coors came out with a great marketing ploy to try and grab some of those people that said they weren't going to drink Bud anymore because of the snobbish attitude, saying all beer should be fussed over. And then they have a picture of Coors Light, Miller Lite, Blue Moon, and Leinenkugels.
Leinenkugels.
So so you have that stuff, and then just to say it. Another part of that commercial was they are the only beer that's been brewed since 1876 using beechwood chips. Well, you know what? You can buy beechwood chips on eBay for $5.67 per ounce, and they're Budweiser beechwood chips. So I think every craft brewery out there should buy a bunch of these beechwood chips and make their own Budweiser beechwood chips beer.
Yeah, you know what? The Auchenlenka smoke beer actually uses beechwood chips to...
But not Budweiser.
But the Budweiser beech chips to improve their fermentation. They don't use it for anything else.
It doesn't matter. It's not the Budweiser beechwood chips. Everybody out there can buy Budweiser beechwood chips. Go ahead and buy it. It's actually sold at homebrew stores. Go ahead and buy it and make a whole bunch of them and say, fuck you,
Wasn't there an article like a couple of years ago where Budweiser they'd had the same supplier of beechwood chips for decades, and it was just like this family somewhere down the state that they had the contract, and then the cut costs they actually eliminated and went for a cheaper supplier. Like that's
and if you guys remember when I did my first Bud Select Packs review that we bought in the U.S., I had that one member that worked on the beechwood chip floor. Bud that freaked out on me that you can't taste the beechwood chips. We don't use them for that and all that. And here's Bud. Oh, we age on beechwood chips. Yeah, you do it for faster fermentation, nothing else. And your employees are stupid enough to say it in public too. So why don't you shut the fuck up about your beechwood chips?
Yeah, because they knock all the flavor out of the fucking chips. Like they basically neutralize the goddamn things, so you get no flavor out of them. So I mean, to say you're aged on beechwood is just a fucking misnomer of the most degree. It's just bullshit. It's just a marketing thing.
Well, like, exactly. But it was like the blandest shit I've ever had. Like it's even worse than it used to be.
But I mean, going with this commercial, it's like I don't know why anyone gives a fuck. Because honestly, in my opinion, Budweiser doesn't give a shit about craft breweries. I don't think they really do. and I think this commercial is more. It's almost a troll commercial. It's just trying to get people's fucking reactions.
Well, no, see, and I agree with you on that. In all honesty, I don't think Bud cares. I think the worst part about the commercial is the fact that Bud keeps buying craft breweries, and then puts out this commercial. And this commercial, the macro beer drinkers will always talk about the snobs on the craft beer drinking side, but this commercial is appealing to the snobs on the macro side, the BMC drinkers, the BMC lifers, that will not try anything else. That you're an idiot for drinking that.
It's a rallying cry
I think
for all
that's
those idiots that are. It's a rallying cry for all those idiots out there that are dumb enough to believe what a commercial will tell them. It's marketing, and they're.
I think my least favorite quote in the entire commercial is "My beer is for people that like to drink beer."
Yeah,
I think that quote is the one that pissed me off the most.
But it's pandering to their consumer base. It's not directed at anybody else. It's directed at the people who already buy Budweiser. It's almost like, yeah, you're awesome for buying our stuff.
Yeah, but it's gonna make their clientele, like their normal base, say, "Oh man, craft beers drinkers are stupid."
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it just popularizes the image they already put forward that, hey, you're the real, you guys buy our stuff, you're the real beer fans. There you go. I don't know why craft beer drinkers give a fuck about this commercial. I don't know why they're upset about it.
So stupid.
Because, hey, the reality is Budweiser is still losing percentage of the market to craft breweries. Craft breweries are still doing really great business. And people who drink craft brew are not affected by this fucking thing at all, and they shouldn't be outraged about it. They should just say, fuck you, Budweiser, I don't give a fuck. I'm not even going to say anything about it, and I'm just going to move on with my goddamn life and drink good beer.
What if the whole commercial was just that their advertising team just didn't actually know that they owned a brewery that makes peach pumpkin beer? It's so fucking stupid.
You know what the funniest thing I've seen about this whole peach pumpkin ale thing is? Everybody that posted, every craft brewery that I've seen posted is like, Elysian makes a great pumpkin peach. It wasn't great. Okay, I know that opinions differ and this and that. Even on Rate Beer or Beer Advocate or Untappd, it wasn't a great beer. It wasn't great. It was made for 1 year. Never made again because it wasn't great. Stop using great. They made a pumpkin peach ale. That's the funniest thing about it. They made one. You bought them, and they made one. Did you buy them just so you didn't get sued because you'd already spent millions of dollars on this commercial?
Well, that's the thing. I read an article earlier where it said that one of the 3 co-owners of Elysian was incredibly pissed off when he saw the commercial because he felt like that was just he was outvoted by his 2 partners, and then he felt like he was like even more shit on because Budweiser then did the peach pumpkin thing, slapped him in the face. The Budweiser's response was, well, we literally chose something that we thought would never happen in a million years. So what I took from that is that, one, they don't understand the experimentation of the community in craft beer, that they don't think that, 2 ingredients could never go together because some brewer out there will do it. And secondly, it shows how little they care about their own portfolio, that they don't know what's underneath their own umbrella.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think the big thing to say is they actually don't care. Like, people are saying, "Oh, this is Budweiser running scared from craft breweries, and they're really worried about their market and stuff." Like, no, I don't think Budweiser gives a shit. I don't think Budweiser are worried. I don't think they give a shit. I don't think they're in the know of what actually is going on. I think that it's just a commercial to actually just pander to their audience, pander to the people already buying Budweiser. I don't think they give a fuck. I think there was just, hey, we're going to sell some beer at the fucking Super Bowl. We're going to sell some beer. So we'll make a commercial and sell some fucking beer. That's it.
And then Miller Coors came out and said, hey, there's people that don't want to buy their beer anymore. We'll get them by saying all beer should be fussed over.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Not me this time, you guys. Don't fucking blame that one on me. I heard it too. It sounded like fucking
is it me?
humpback whales mating or something.
That was I pissing growlers more.
No, I don't think it was me.
It was probably me, but nobody can hear me now.
No, we can hear you. Oh, now we can't because you left. Well, if we're done with this topic, because I think we've all pushed into the dirt, we've all said that it's just stupid. Mike, is there anything you want to talk about? You're the new one to the group.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd like to ask people what they think of what's happening with all these small craft breweries entering the industry. I mean, there are a lot of really good ones, and there are some really bad ones too. And then I think a whole lot of mediocre. So what do people think? Like, my concern here is if you look back at Niagara, when wine was really becoming the new thing, there were a lot of people, and I'm sure you've heard this argument before. They talk about poisoning the well, where you've got some quality producers that have been doing it for a number of years, and then you get some people coming in the industry that really don't know what they're doing. They have money, but they really don't know the craft.
There is a brewery in Whitby, other than yourself, that is opening up, that I have already told I will never drink any of their beers no matter what, and they have contacted me to see if I would review their beers. And I said to them, remember what we talked about earlier when you had your very public fight about trademark with another brewery. And
are we talking Brock Street Brewing?
I'm not going to name names, my friends.
Well, I would name names because Brock Street Brewing and fucking Wheels there, fucking doing his little lawyer bullshit. He is the epitome of getting into craft beer for the wrong goddamn reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I know of all the stuff that's gone on. So far, we have a good relationship with them. They're literally within spitting distance of our brewery.
Could you spit on them for me, just once or twice?
The reality is we're trying to work with the people around us as best as we can because we're not in for missing that.
That's exactly what it comes down to, right?
It is.
You don't want to go out and come down to, we don't like these guys for this reason. You don't want to do that. You want to leave it to people like me and Lee.
Yeah.
You want to leave it to people that have nothing to do with the system.
No, you know what? I just want to brew beer. That's
exactly.
the reality.
That's what I'm saying. You just want to brew your beer and have people like it or dislike it. Your comment, there's so many breweries opening up everywhere. And some of them know what they're doing, some of them don't know what they're doing, some of them are mediocre. Most of the mediocre ones I've noticed are contract breweries that probably wouldn't make it as a brewery on their own if they opened up in the areas that are contract brewing. I mean, there are like the 100 Mile Ale is out there, and the 100 Mile Lager that's brewed with with malts and hops that are within 100 miles of the place they contracted to that. That's Michael Duggan and Clifford was in on that too, and a few other people were in on that. It's mediocre beer. Is it good beer? Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say anything mediocre is good. As long as it doesn't fail, it's good. But is it something that's worthwhile if you're just getting into the industry? Yeah. Red Falcon Ale, we've already talked about them. There's just so many of them. So many contract breweries that are just meh at best. But again, that's coming from guys that have been in the industry or have been drinking the beer or been in the craft movement for so long that it's just not funny anymore. Mill Street has breweries in Ottawa and Toronto and Scarborough. At best, they're meh for the most part with most of their stuff. Is meh saying they're bad? No, it's not saying they're bad. It's just saying that. Is it stuff that makes you excited to go and try it? No, but I mean, at the same time, the question then comes down to why do you drink your beer? I mean, for me, it's excitement. I drink my beer to try something new. I don't have a huge amount of brand loyalty. There are Five Paddles beers that I'll get Tanya to pick up for me if they're for sale. There's Innocent Gun beers that I buy. There's one beer from Mill Street that I buy. There's a couple Cameron's beers that I buy, Nickelbrook beers that I buy. My brand loyalty is fairly shallow because I want to try everything new. I don't have enough money to go out and just keep buying the exact same thing all the time, plus trying the new things. I have to make my decision, and it's trying new things that matters more to me than buying the exact same thing all the time.
See, and I think what's happening is there's a divide right now in the industry where you've got a lot of the older guys that have been around for a long time, and they produce a quality product, but they produce a pretty similar product. You know, they've got their 4 or 5 staple beers, and that's what they do well, and that's what they're going to do, you know, in the foreseeable future. Like, they don't want to do anything different, and that's fine. And then you've got some of the new guys coming in that brew some, you know, different styles. They may have a cream ale or some kind of more generic offerings. And then you've got guys that are trying to do a bunch of different things, right? Which can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. It really depends on, you know, what those offerings taste like. You know, are you hitting 1 out of 2 beers out of the park, 1 out of 3? 3 out of 3, what is it, right? The reality is that we all want to convert the drinkers over, and sometimes you need a cream ale or something like that to do it. And quite frankly, I like cream ale. You know, so we brew beers like that somebody is not going to give a 4 or 5 out of 5 on rate beer, right? They're basically going to say, you know what, yeah, it's a good cream ale, but it's a cream ale nonetheless. So
yeah, that goes back to what, a couple shows ago there, Chad, where we were talking about that article about beers or whatever that Ontario brewers have to stop making or whatever.
Oh yeah, the Ontario Pale Ale and all that came from Ben Johnson.
Yeah, fucking bullshit. Ben Johnson shouldn't be writing articles because he's a terrible writer. But anyway, yeah, that's just, it's just fucking.
Remember, that was the King of Beer Tube, not the Albino Rhino that said that.
Yeah, that's right. Ben Johnson, you're a terrible writer and you suck and you shouldn't be writing articles for anybody. But I mean, yes, breweries have to make beers that, you know, are inclusive, that will attract people to drink other beers on their portfolio. You know, you can't start out with a goddamn Imperial Stout and hope that anyone's going to buy your beer.
I think it all matters where you are at, though. If you're opening a brewery in Toronto, coming out with an Ontario Pale Ale or a lager or this and that, don't do it, because that's been done over and over and over again. If you're opening in Ottawa that already has like 12 breweries on its own, don't do that, because it's been done over and over and over again. If you're coming into a market that's already saturated, you have to come out with something glaring that's going to make people want to try you. If you're coming into a market like Whitby or say Colburn or fucking Arn Prior or any of the industries that don't have many breweries out there, sure, do that, because that will probably sell. But if you're coming out to a market that's known as a craft beer industry market, don't do it. You're just wasting your money.
But I think we came to agreement the last time that people, I mean, if you're especially in an area where tourism is a big thing,
yes,
you got to make those tourist beers. I mean, you've got to make those beers that will bring in people to buy your stuff and maybe try something and take a couple bottles away when they leave, right?
Well, yeah, you look at Oast House here in Niagara or Silversmith, and not much less looking at Taps or Syndicate.
And then just going on the little side topic there of brand loyalty, for me personally, brand loyalty only it hinges on the idea of if you're making good beer consistently. If you're not making good beer consistently, you've lost my loyalty for your brand.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in Niagara, right? If I go to Silversmith, I'll drink a pint of the Black Lager while I'm there, while I'm talking to Matt and to Cody and to the whole group. But I won't buy a bottle, because I will not pay $9 for a bottle of Black Lager. I won't.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Guys, I tell you,
great
and
beer,
you know what?
but
I'm perfectly fine being on record for this, because I've told them straight up. I've left the brewery before, and I've had Cody or Matt or any of the other guys go, "Aren't you buying a bottle of Black Lager? You love it." Fuck you guys! I'm not paying $9 for a Black Lager. It's just not happening.
Yeah,
I've gone to Oast House. I know Kian. I'm friends with Kian. I talk to him all the time. I talked to him for half an hour last time I was there. I'm not paying $10 for a bottle of a saison. It's not happening.
No.
I'll drink a pint of it at the bar, but I'm not paying $10 for a saison to take home with me, or $13 or $14 or whatever else price they're going to pay. But I mean, they make great beer. Will I ever say don't try their beer? No, I won't say that, because their beer is great. Everybody should try their beer at least once. Will I buy it myself? No, because for that $13 I paid for that saison, I could buy 6 cans of Innocent Gun Original, and I'd rather drink 6 500 milliliter cans of Innocent Gun Original than one 750 milliliter of Oast House fucking saison.
I mean, with you in the Ontario market, you could find saisons that are just as good or better for lower price.
Yes, but not much lower. I mean, what's the cheapest saison brewed in Ontario? Probably Black Oak's at $6 for the bottle. It's probably the cheapest I can think of off the top of my head.
Our saison for 650 ml, $5.
Okay, see, I've never had yours. Oh wait, Block 3. Block 3 is probably the best saison I've had.
Block 3 is awesome. I love that one.
I have not had the 5 paddle, so I can't comment on it. But I am big on saying try everything at least once. So if you see the 5 paddle saison, buy it.
Yeah, but the Block 3 one I had, I enjoyed that way. Like, that was one of the bottles Nick snuck into my bag. That one was better than the Oast Toast one.
I don't really like that Oast Toast one.
Yeah, I like the Oast Toast one too, but I mean the Block 3 was better.
And the Block 3 was actually the proper percentage. And I know people get mad at me. Why do you care about the percentage? I'm only an elitist on certain things. If you're going to talk about a saison and you're going to promote a saison as a farmhouse ale, it should be a farmhouse ale ABV. It shouldn't be like 9-10% alcohol.
True. Yeah, it should be 4 at the most. 4 at the most, I think.
Saison's a drinking beer, so you can't really drink a lot of 9% beer without getting fucked.
I don't know.
Best saison out of 10.4.
Well, I mean, there goes another question for everyone in here. Kevin, would you rather a saison true to style being like 3 to 4% or even 5, or would you rather a saison the North American way of 7 to 9?
Taste over style.
I hated saison until I tried a heavy one. Yeah, I tried a 10.4 one from Stone. The smoked Mass-Burning Rossids. That was fucking awesome saison.
Yeah. That one was technically classified as an imperial saison.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean that style had a purpose when it was first developed, right? I mean today it's like, oh, some guy sitting behind a computer on his chair drinking a saison. They can drink a goddamn 10% saison and not fucking care about it, right?
Yeah, it was the whatever you want to call it, the Pilsner fucking Belgium, whatever you want, or France, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, you know what I mean, drinking man's beer, but now it's like a totally different thing. Like Chad was saying, he liked, or you and Chad were talking about how you liked Oast House's saison versus other ones. Like, I had the Oast House, their base saison, but then I had their Brett saison, and I love their Brett saison, but that's not a saison at that point. You know what I mean? It's a different beer, but I like it better. You know what I mean? Like, it's the difference. It's taste over style, and I would prefer taste over style.
It's another thing where that style has been sort of like, I guess the best word I can think of, although it doesn't really describe it too well, perverted over the years. I mean, well, that original style beer was not. It was not supposed to be big. It was the exception to drinking. It was the exception to drinking water. I mean, you didn't want to drink dirty water, but you're working on the farm, so you had a very low alcohol beer, gave you nutrients, gave you hydration. There you go. But in this day and age, those things don't matter anymore. So I mean, you get all these beer geeks like us drinking this stuff, and it's like, okay, can we get a really incredibly flavorful saison, quote unquote, at 10%. Sure, let's jump into it. But I mean, personally, I'm not looking for that. I mean, for me, I'm looking for a 3 to 4% beer that's really flavorful and enjoyable. And I mean, that goes back to like milds and stuff like that. Like looking for low alcohol beers that are really fucking flavorful. So.
I think for as far as saisons go, in 2014, that was one of the beer styles I really wanted to try to get into and experiment with, everything like that. So I had several traditional recipe ones. I had several what you would imperial saison, whatever. And right beside me right now, I have barrel-aged saisons. I have one in tequila, one in rum, and one in Chardonnay. And I gotta say, like, maybe it's just my palate, but I really think that these bigger, more flavorful, or bigger ABV ones and the more experimental ones that are just better to me. Like I've had them with plums and everything, and I think it's just a little bit more interesting to me.
I don't want to speak for Chad, but I think with I'm just sort of supposing here that with Chad sort of thinks the same way I do about saisons, where we're kind of thinking them in the terms of milds, where we're looking for like low alcohol beers that are really flavorful.
I think the thing with them is that breweries, and I'm not saying Five Paddles or Innocente or Nickelbrook or any other breweries like that, but there are breweries that will still put the fucking history of a saison on the back of the bottle, and then they'll have a 7% alcohol saison.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about.
On the back of the bottle, this was into. Yeah, it's marketing and all that. You can't say on the back of the bottle, this is a beer that was fed to farm workers after a hard day of work or during a hard day of work. And then saison. You can't do that because that's not what they would have been fed. Feed them a 4% at the most, 5% at the most.
You want those motherfuckers to work? You don't want them to pass out? I mean, come on now.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Brett saisons. I love barrel-aged saisons. I love everything I've tried. I usually can get behind a saison, but at the same time, on most saisons, I say the same thing. Why is this 8% alcohol? Why is this? I did the Bellwood barrel age, the Farmageddon. It was 7.5% alcohol. Why is it 7.5% alcohol? It's an amazing beer, but you're even talking about it on your webpage about it being a farmer's farm worker saison. Why is it 7.5% alcohol?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, if they're drinking that. If they were drinking that back in the day, they wouldn't be getting behind the saisons. They'd be getting behind the fucking sheep and fucking them, you know, like.
And this.
Not all of us are from Nova Scotia.
Fuck you, fucking Irish.
You're
fucking neck of the woods.
You can sit there and talk about like style and everything, but like you're talking about having a saison and having it be the workers' man beer and how it can be the thing it was, but then you have like Budweiser talk about their real man beer. How does it differ? Really? Like if you think about it, like I understand it's totally different and how it's made and everything like that, but then if you bring Budweiser and be like, oh, this is hard-working beer and this is the man's beer and this is how he but that's a different beer in that sense, and then you have saisons going in a whole different angle. You know, like I mean, it's the same askew. You know what I mean?
It's just so different though, because that's the Budweiser marketing agenda, first of all, and second of all, people working now are not working as hard as the fucking farmers did back in the goddamn Middle Ages.
But I think saisons are actually going in that sense, in that like people are starting to take saisons and make them into this pickable, like discernible beer, to where they like start picking out all this crazy shit. Where in the brass tacks, it's a worker man's beer. It's a fucking pilsner of the Belgian world.
The thing about saisons, though, is like it's a very loosely designed style. I mean,
so is that lager?
The idea was that it was a low alcohol beer, and that was basically it. But for every farm you went to, as far as I've read anyway, as far as the information goes, is that whoever, whatever farm you were working at, it might have been spiced differently, compared to another farm. So it wasn't necessarily a style so much. It was just low alcohol beer fed to goddamn farm workers.
It was swill. It was what they made. They fed to people. So that's my point.
Well, I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
When you look at some of the beer history, like say in early America and stuff, and all over, they would make 3 beers out of a grain bill. They'd make a big beer and a medium beer and a table beer. So were they making bigger beers out of that barley first? So maybe they did have a Saison style grain bill and yeast with a higher percentage alcohol. I mean, that is possible. It just depends on how they were brewing it. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Well, I think that would defeat the purpose of the Saison.
No, because your third runnings, the third time you sparge it, you would get your working man's beer.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you sparge it, you would get a heavy beer.
Yeah, it's the same with British beers. Same.
And that was my point with it was you have these big beers versus little beers, and you're trying to you're trying to upsell a beer as being a bigger beer, not these new world Saisons that are like different with barrel aged with this or whatever. Like you're trying to upsell Saison and make it a whole different thing. I don't know.
All right, so. All right, I know this term kind of goes against the traditional meaning of it, but would y'all accept Imperial Saison?
I fucking love Imperial Saison.
I mean,
delicious.
If it's an Imperial Saison, then I
only if it tastes right, baby.
Well, I mean, the whole Imperial concept, it kind of goes against...
No, I get exactly what you're saying, like the 6 and 7 and 8% alcohol versions of it. Yeah, I would accept that.
Saison be like purple or something, or strong Belgian.
I accept it personally, but it's not what I'm looking for in a Saison. I'll just put it that way. It's like, if I look for a Saison,
I get really excited when I find a Saison that's under 5% alcohol. I get excited.
That's the thing. And I mean that just goes for my personal taste, where I'm looking for good session beers. I'm looking for good milds and stuff like that.
Are you gonna find that in the average beer drinker? Probably not. They're gonna look at a Saison at 4% and go, "Why would I buy this one? I can buy this one at 8."
Yeah, I mean it's perfectly valid. I mean, people want to buy their 8-10% fucking Saisons. Go ahead, awesome. But I mean, for me, it's just personal preference. I'm looking for lower ABV ones that are more traditional, quote unquote,
Oh my god. Lee, the king of beer tube, the queen of BJCP, and the lover of Daniel Harper, you fuck.
Yeah, take your goddamn toque off, you fucking kitty cat, and your fucking glasses. I just want a goddamn nice mild drink of beer. It has nothing to do with BJC fucking bullshit blowjob.
Just because he joined, Mike from Five Paddles.
Yes, sir.
Ethan, the Elvis of Ohio.
Ohio Elvis in the building, yo.
Oh, teddy bear.
American Elvis.
Yeah, so someone correct Ewart here. Someone break his back over their knee.
Oh, honey.
Okay, is there any comments? Thanks to entirely off-spun comment that Mike gave us that brought us to fucking Saison.
There are no comments. There are no comments from Sasquatches. I do know that.
Oh Jesus! There's all kinds of comments from Sasquatches here.
I'm out. I gotta go, guys. Hey, good night, all. It's a little late for me. Cheers.
Cheers, Ewart.
Good night, Biggie.
Did you guys already talk about the Budweiser commercial, I'm guessing? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are late, Mr. Ohio.
Do you want my opinion about it real quick?
Go ahead, and then we'll let Lee talk.
Just because of that commercial, I'm going to drink Budweiser now. Not going to lie.
Well, hell, man, that's pretty cool. You'll be singing in Vegas in no
just
time,
for
brother.
us blue-collar workers.
That's right.
Those people that want a beer that's
karate. Yep.
Before you get on the comments, should I drink another beer?
Yes. You should drink 2 other beers.
Mike, I'm sorry you're seeing that I'm controlled by the populace.
Popular vote.
Mike's taking notes. He'll know.
Popular vote so far is 2 yeses and nothing else, so I can't.
you cannot deny you are a democratic man, sir.
There's 5 abstains, which means I shouldn't drink.
Beer number 3.
No. If they don't say anything, that's just a no vote.
Yeah.
I think you should follow your heart's desires.
Yeah, the only two people who
I've been
voted.
drinking craft beer all. I've been drinking craft beer all night, so let's drink a macro beer. Let's drink the last Valentine's I have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is that Valentine's IPA? Is that what that is?
That it is.
Okay. Okay, reviewing under influence says, just reviewed Duty Stills barley wine, really like that, tons of coconut and caramel. Scott Breon says, awesome show as usual. Thank you, sir. Scott Breon says, oh, and Budweiser can go fuck themselves and seriously consider boycotting InBev, or at least the InBev products that come from North America. And PA Brew News commented to that saying, I would, but I love Elysian's loser. PA Brew News says, Greg, why aren't you in here? If they can't talk about Ontario breweries, they have nothing. Emergency, emergency. So, you know, we're not talking about Black Oak or fucking Bellwoods, so apparently everything's gone fucking fucky.
Or Cool. Don't forget he talks about Cool all the time, too.
PA Brew News tells me to taste the rainbow, apparently. I don't know what that's I don't know what that's going on about. I'll have to quiz him on that further. The Reverend's on here. He says, why is Lee wearing a mask? Why wouldn't I be wearing a mask, sir? And PA Bruno's replied to him saying he is the malt maniac and he will crush you. That is correct, sir. I will crush you. I'll break your back with my knee. PA Bruno's...
If I knew where my luchador mask was, I'd be wearing it too, but I don't know where mine is.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever. PA Bruno says, when a Saison gets that high, they aren't classified as Saison, not in a traditional sense. By the way, all the labels on Saison suck, so Matt, just don't comment at all, apparently. He says, nice bearded glasses, Matt. Where is Ewart? I think that was some sort of hipster kind of comment there. I don't know. Paul makes obscure comments sometimes. Reviewing under influences, I agree. Current Saison should just be called triples, if you think about it. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it.
I don't know about that.
Paul
from Belgium. It's not really Saison anymore at that point.
Yeah, Paul says we all have stupid palates all around. Wow, Ethan, love the new look. Homo.
Oh, thank you very much.
Ryakis says, I have a hard time paying up for the low alcohol beers. I think it's a concern of a lot of people. Thus, you see a lot of higher alcohol contents in beers that traditionally don't have high alcohol contents because a lot of people wouldn't buy it otherwise.
Okay, before you go on to any more comments, I'm just going to put this out there because I know Devin's going to watch the finish of this. I know Mike's still here, and I know Steve's going to watch the finish of this. I know that John from Nickelbrook watches this. If you guys make a mild, I'll buy a bunch of fucking mild. If it's good, I'll buy a shitload of mild. I don't care if it's low ABV. That's what I kind of want. Like for nights like tonight, I'd like to have like 12 mild set up on the bar and just keep drinking them all night.
Do you want me to send you a Big Rock's Warthog?
I can get Warthog.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'd like to drink a mild without puking afterwards, thanks.
It just tastes like water, that one.
Yeah, puking water. Pierre Bruno says, none of you need a Saison because I don't see one hard-working real man on this cast.
Oh.
And then he says, oh God, Matt, is Matt still talking? So, yeah,
since you haven't gotten to meet him, Mike, Paul from PA Brew News is the guy that can never be satisfied no matter what you give him. He drove a Jag up to Canada that stayed in Canada until July. He's an interesting guy, and him and Ed both had the same length of hair at the time that Ed was here.
But Paul thinks all beers are too thin, and
yes,
he's
for every beer I've reviewed since the day Paul was here, I say is too thin.
Yeah, and Paul's a very hateful individual.
Awesome.
There's a Reverend. What does he have? What does he have in his hat? I can't see.
What do you have in your hand, Reverend?
Hand? No, I said hat.
What's it? I'm blind. What did you hold up? You have to tell me
Void.
where the camera goes to.
My hat says Void, and it's my fancy new phone chat that I'm still trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, the phone that won't agree with your language.
It doesn't understand what the fuck I'm talking.
It's
Let me
because
try
you're
to type
from
shit and
Welland.
fucking say it.
You live in Welland. It doesn't understand what you say.
Well, I think it's more so the sober me to drunk me. I speak fucking a little differently.
You're not. Are you not drinking right now?
I am.
Is that Labatt Blue in there?
It is actually not. I decided to switch it up and be a little awesome.
Oh yeah. Turned down for what? Right there.
I figured y'all
turned
would
down.
be like, I love
Mike,
beer.
Mike, I don't know how many Albino Rhino beer review episodes you've watched, but this is the Reverend from the Albino Rhino beer review episodes. He drinks the shit, so you don't have to. He gave a 10 out of 10 to that Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, by the way, I do have a question for the Reverend. When was the United States founded? Because apparently, if you don't know that, you have no opinion on beer that is valid.
1786.
You're 10 years. You're 10 years. Too late, sir.
Again, today's troll of the week was the first time ever that the Reverend was not trolled about his ears. He was trolled about his knowledge of the U.S. history.
Seriously? Wow. All right. What did I say?
You said that 1886 was the year that the U.S. was founded when it was 1776, and somebody thought that you were an idiot for knowing that, and you should not. Your opinion on beer should not be taken seriously because you did not know when the U.S. was founded.
Well, to be fair, the majority of Americans don't know that answer either.
And I defended the Reverend, and I said knowledge of history does not translate to your own personal taste in beer. And then I also pointed out to this individual that Rhino and the Reverend were not Americans when he actually assumed they were, and then he conceded and backed the fuck off.
I just assume everybody's aliens.
I'm glad that I yelled out some fucking completely wrong time then. That's even better. That's some kid get real pissed off. I'm watching two yahoos talk about beer like, whoa. He said something wrong about American history? No, sorry. Thumbs down on this video.
Well, here's the thing. You guys should start doing, whenever you do reviews together, you should start just putting out really wrong facts about America in every review.
I think I could do that. Well, there's a few times I don't think I should toss out. I don't think there should necessarily be like, oh, remember September 9th? Bad day.
Yeah, that day, September 9th. God damn it.
Worst day in American history. 1999, September 9th.
When Queen Elizabeth was killed, it was fucking terrible. It was terrible. We all mourned that day.
She got ran over in Paris. It was terrible.
Yeah. The day we ran all the blacks out of the U.S. and it was a controversial day.
Oh, last Tuesday?
Yeah, it was controversial. It was terrible.
Okay, so any comments from the 13 viewers we have, or from the people on the panel? Anything we want to talk about? I've been out of topics for a little while now. We're just running on things.
We're just running on fumes now. Let's see. Oh God, we had another comment from Paul. He says, "Skittles girl Lee, remember taste the rainbow."
We know the Skittles girl, Paul. You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Wait,
yeah, unless Paul joins in, he's not allowed to talk. Paul, come on, somebody in comments is join in, you fucking Nancy.
All right, I think
do we really want Paul to join? That's the question. Do we really want Paul to join?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck Paul.
You didn't need Paul because you were too good for us last time.
I
Paul from PA Brew News.
Oh, okay, that dude. Yeah. He's been on here a couple times.
Guys, I'm heading out.
Okay, Nick, you have a wonderful night. Have fun shoveling in the morning.
Oh, fuck off. See you guys.
I already shoveled. I don't have to go to that again.
I gotta crash too, man. See you guys.
Bye.
Okay, we have 14 viewers now. We have one guy left from the brewing industry and a bunch of guys that just have opinions that don't matter. What do you guys want to know about?
Do you guys get a Sierra Nevada up there?
No, but I can cross the border to the U.S. and buy any Sierra Nevada product I want in New York.
Okay, because I've been seeing all their beer camp series beers around, especially their hoppy lager, and I haven't tried any of them actually, because I don't know.
Aren't those all like 7 months old now?
Yeah, but they're starting to release like I guess a couple of them like Hop Hunter and Nooner Pilsner from that series, I guess, or whatever. So, but I'm just saying, like, they have a lot of bombers around my area that are just like, you know, the beer camp specialty ones, and then they have the single hop variety, whatever it is. So, I don't know. I never try them because I just see them all the time, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, I would actually drink the new hoppy lager, the IPL, that beer camp one that just came out for 2015 today. I really liked it. It wasn't as good as the one that came out in the 2014 box. That one was supposed to be the 2015 is supposed to be a remix of 2014's. But if you ever get the chance, I don't care how old this bottle is, because it'll probably age fantastically, even though it has a low ABV. If you ever find Sierra Nevada Beer Camp Tater Ridge, get that. That thing is delicious. It is probably the best sweet potato beer I've ever had in my life.
I'm Irish, and you just said something about potatoes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Sierra Nevada, 2014, Sierra Nevada collaborated with, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong here, the North Carolina Brewers Alliance or something like that. But they came out with a sweet potato beer, and that thing was fantastic. And I've been craving it ever since. I tried other sweet potato beers, and it just doesn't come close.
Okay. Any comments out there, Lee?
Lee's gone.
Okay, fuck you guys.
Lee appears to have left the, I don't know, haberdashery, wherever the fuck he is. I don't know what is that. What's going on there?
That is Lee's closet door that we're looking at. That's what he left us with. He's probably making out with his brother right now. That's right, Scott. I just said you're making out with your brother.
Happens.
Okay, well, there is one comment here that Lee will read when he comes back. So now that I see Mike's back, this is from Reviews Under Influence, which is from Alberta, to Mike from Five Paddles. Are you guys having any sours currently?
We're just starting to get into sours. We're working on a couple of different things with Rosalaire, also some barrel aging. But our issue right now is we're having trouble keeping up with production as is. And if you want to brew a good quality sour, you got to sit on it for a bit. So
for anywhere from 6 to 24 months.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries just don't have the space to do that.
We've got space, we just don't have brewing capacity. So we would have to brew like nonstop, which we kind of already are doing. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Now, when you make your sour, what are you going to call it? I only ask because I know Silversmith and Osthouse both make and Sawdust City are all in a group that has made a sour that they're calling a lambic, which kind of only angers me because I'm an elitist on a few things, and one being that lambics have to come from Brussels, Belgium.
Right. Well, that's that whole debate about style versus country. You know, there's been talk about that with saisons as well, right? And any Belgian style beer, right? We have no idea what we're calling any of them at this point. We're just fucking around and having a good time. You know, we periodically will have a little bit left of a batch, and we'll dump it into a barrel and see what happens. So we're just having fun with it.
And truthfully, that's the way to go with it. If you're going to do it, that's the way to go with it.
Yep.
And do you buy more than just bourbon barrels normally, or do you just collect bourbon barrels?
We've got some bourbon barrels, red wine. I don't know what type of red, to be honest, but from
red wine, do you?
Yes, we do.
I don't know if you want to admit this or not, but what's in the red wine barrels right now?
There is one very, very small batch of Midnight Paddler.
You just made me angry.
Well, we'll see what happens with it. We're sitting on it.
There's nothing to see. It's going to be amazing because that's the type of barrel that beer needed to be in.
Well,
I mean, in all honesty, the Belgian Midnight Paddler and the barrel-aged Midnight Paddler, I've had a couple Midnight Paddlers. The original was amazing, but yeah, I think that a red wine barrel would be awesome for what it was because it's going to add a little bit of tartness and a little bit of fruit to what was already an amazing beer. I can still remember the first Midnight Paddler I had in the pool with James and Karina and Simon and everybody else at the punter's house, and that was a great pool party just because of that beer. That beer made the entire pool party. Fuck everything else we drank that night. That beer made the pool party.
Well, happy to hear it.
There was a Belgian Midnight Paddler.
Yeah, ironically, that one is probably getting more attention than the original. And
in my opinion, and I know it's just my opinion, but that one is not as good as the original. I actually tried it, and I remember reviewing it. I still gave it a 9 out of 10, but I remember reviewing it, and I was saying that I thought it was going to be a 10 out of 10 because I'm sitting here thinking, Belgian barrel-aged Midnight Paddler, this is going to be amazing. And then I drank it, and I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it's not what I was building up. But I built it up in my head that it was going to be fucking exquisite.
And did I hear you're going for a red wine Midnight Paddler, red wine barrel?
Yeah, we're kind of tinkering around with a bunch of things. I mean, the reality is to get good quality barrels, whether it's red wine, bourbon, what have you, really hard to get right now. You know, you got to drive a long distance, at least in our area. So, you know, we try to get them where we can. We don't have a ton, but we're kind of trying to build up some stock, and then over time, you know, we're going to get into the barrel aging as well as the souring. We can probably get about 3-4 maybe good turns of a barrel to get that taste out of it that we're looking for, and then after that, you're looking at inoculating them with sours and just going crazy.
Yeah.
So that'll be our future, and you know, if we have to pick up a second location and it's all just barrels, we're looking to do that. So.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, barrels are hard to get these days. I mean, even like actual Scotch makers and stuff are having a hard time like getting a hold of barrels at this point because everyone's buying them up all the time. So.
Well, it's so true, right? I mean, you look at like the Goose Islands of the world, and these guys are buying, you know, barrels hand over fist. There ain't a lot left for guys like us.
Yeah.
Well, for guys like you, the one thing you have going for you is that Niagara Falls isn't that far from Whitby. You can get shitloads of wine barrels in Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping to, but you know, the reality is that you got to be in the right place at the right time. And we happen to be with our first couple of batches, but we don't have a ton of barrels, but we're getting there.
Yeah, the amount of barrels that say like Cameron's has is disgusting. They went from having, you know, 5 or 6 barrels to having almost 100 barrels just sitting in the back room, and it's disgusting to see that.
Disgustingly awesome.
Well, yes, I'm not saying.
I mean, I'd like to have, you know, 400 or 500 in rotation at some point, and that's aggressive. But you know, if you're running a good quality sour program, and you know, you're going to need some lead time. You're going to need a good sample to blend from if you're not doing just straight up lambics, and you know, it takes time, right? You can't just announce that you're going to get into sours and you turn them around in 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, good luck, right? So, you know, we recognize that. We're so small. Right now it's more of just kind of playing around with it. But we have our ambitions. There's a lot of things we want to do, and we'll get there. We just have to kind of pick our spots and, you know, kind of grow organically and, you know, let the public tell us what they want to some extent, and then try to surprise them every now and then too, right?
Well, you know, see, that's a good approach because one of the things we talk about a lot on this show is where we poo-poo on breweries that just throw any old fucking beer into a barrel and release it and hope people will buy it, right? Your guys' approach is much more encouraging, where you're actually experimenting, you know, trying to perfect things before you know, really jump into it. And try to make beers that are, you know, conducive to actually barrel aging, instead of just throwing their shitty ESB or their shitty bitter or their shitty pale ale into a barrel and hoping for the best that something's going to come out of it, right?
Yeah, and it's a funny market. I mean, you know, I think seasoned drinkers are somewhat fickle. You know, we know what we like, we know what's good, and we know what's shit. But a lot of the general public doesn't. You know, they see something, they're buying the name. It's a bit of hype. They get caught up on the limited quantity thing, and they go nuts, right? Oh, it's barrel aged. I need to get it right now. And they don't even think twice about it. Oh, it must be good, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is that, you know, you have to have a good quality beer before it gets to that stage. Otherwise, you know, shit is shit, right? Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
True. I have a question for you, Mike. I mean, going from somebody who's taken like a next step thing, if you're going to talk to people that are getting into brewing, like I'm sure all of us have tried brewing and tried doing other things, where would you start if you went back in the day and you knew what you knew now? When you were starting to brew, not on a big scale, but on a smaller scale, where would you start as far as equipment and product?
The number one recommendation would be to join a homebrew club. Get in a good quality homebrew club. This is where you're going to learn the most, and you'll learn it firsthand. And if you have a good quality club, they'll tell you when your beer's shit, but they'll tell you why. You know, and I learned that. I learned the hard way. You know, and people would say, you know, what did you do with this beer? And they'll run through the whole entire process until they figure out what your fault was, or faults for that matter. And so you work at it, and you improve your craft. And over time, you find that you kind of keep moving up the rungs of the ladder until you're producing a beer that when you drink it, you kind of say, well, yeah, I'd pay for this beer. And that's kind of when you know you've gotten your beer to a level that you're happy with. That being said, you know, I'm my own worst critic. You know, if a beer turns out well, but it wasn't what I intended it to be, then I'm always going to be hard on that beer.
Now, when did you think you felt you met that first level? Like, how long ago did you reach that point to where you were like, okay, I'm making a beer I would buy?
I'd say about a year and a half in, and that was me like going full tilt, like reading everything I could find, brewing at least 2-3 times a week at home, trying to shadow with other breweries when I could, and trying to talk to as many people that, you know, could teach me something, right? And, you know, I'm a humble guy by nature, so I take what people say, you know, as advice and kind of try to learn from it. From an equipment perspective, you know, get yourself a keggle if you can, which is basically a keg where somebody's cut the lid off. Try not to steal it from another brewery.
You prefer a keggle over like a regular like brew pot, or?
Yeah, well, that's what I used, right? So,
okay.
I mean, I had a really ghetto setup, right? I had a turkey fryer burner, a keggle, and a second keggle that I used as a mash tun, and I had a false bottom, with a dip tube, and that was it. Like it was nothing fancy. I had a hot water heater blanket that I put around my mash tun kegel.
To try to keep temperature,
yeah, and it would hold pretty much. I mean, I'd lose probably a degree or two Fahrenheit in an hour, which isn't so bad.
Now, what do you think out of a strictly homebrew setup? Like, typically, what is the biggest flaw most people make? Is it keeping temperature? Is it not sparging correctly? Like, what do you think is like the thing that most people fuck up most?
They fuck up on yeast typically. So the problem is, right, like if you buy a package of yeast, like a smack pack for home brewers, right, they're going to give you recommendations of how much yeast you should put in a batch, and typically they're a bit under. So you really want to build a starter if you want to do it properly, if you're doing a larger batch. I used to brew typically like a 10-gallon batch.
So 10 or above?
Yeah. And so you want to get an Erlenmeyer flask and a stir plate, and you want to build that starter up. So what you do is you build like a basic beer where you're using like a malt extract, and you're boiling it, you're chilling it, you're putting it in an Erlenmeyer flask, and when you get it to like room temperature, you're pitching your yeast in it, and there's a stir bar, and it's going to keep stirring around and around and around, which is going to build up that culture. And then when you get it in probably about 24 to 48 hours, if you've done your measurements right, you should be ready to pitch. So you want to brew when that pitch is fresh, and you're going to get good attenuation that way.
So it's a timing thing with pitching in the yeast at that aspect.
For sure, right? I mean, if that yeast is alive and kicking, that's when you want to pitch it. And that's why a lot of European brewers top crop, where they're basically pulling off, as a beer's fermenting, they're pulling off that top bit and using that to ferment the next batch. That's the freshest yeast that you're ever going to get. And the yeast per, that sample that you pull is going to be much higher than if you're buying a dormant yeast pack and you're trying to build it up.
Now, is there any pros and cons to doing that as opposed to not doing that? Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying, there's you want to do that, stir it up and pitch the yeast in that aspect is
to build a starter.
Yeah.
I mean, building a starter is a bit of a pain in the ass, right? Because you're creating like a mini beer in a flask.
Yeah.
You're trying to heat it on your stove and you're burning shit.
But what is the pros and cons versus that as opposed to traditionally just dumping the yeast in?
You're going to get better beer for the most part. Depends on the style of beer and the type of yeast you're using. If you're doing certain beers, you can get away with maybe not building a starter. It's typically more cost effective to do a starter rather than buying multiple pitches. And some homebrewers are proponents to dry yeast too. Dry yeast is the easiest thing you'll ever get. Basically, the best way to use it, you boil some water in a small pot, you dump your dry yeast culture in there, you let it sit for probably about 20 minutes at room temperature, and then you pitch that slurry into that batch. And dry yeast can work really well for hoppy beers, some stouts, beers where you're not really going to get as much yeast profile. If you're going for something cleaner like a cream ale or what have you, you're going to definitely notice it's a dry yeast pitch, in my opinion. But I think if you're a seasoned drinker, you'll probably notice.
So
you can still get a good.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Get a good quality product though, still with a dry pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's about getting things jump started and then getting in there and then making the yeast do their job faster as opposed to making it just dumping it in and hoping for the best as opposed to that.
Yeah, I mean the way to get your yeast kicking the fastest once you pitch well, just before you pitch actually, is to oxygenate the wort. So you can get an oxygen stone, and you run pure oxygen probably for about a minute, maybe not even, probably 30 seconds is enough in a typical 5-10 gallon batch. And then once you've oxygenated, then you're going to add that yeast pitch. Don't oxygenate after. You're going to fuck up your beer. But once it's at that point, you want to try to control that temperature as best as possible, depending on the type of beer. You know, a lot of people know the sweet spots of their cellar or their basement. You can do what I did when I got really hardcore, and I bought an old freezer. I hooked it up to a temperature controller in my garage.
Yeah.
I had a little heater in there, and then it was hooked up to the freezer itself. And there's a temperature probe, so I would set my target temperature, and away we go.
So you're all dead set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's good information. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
my
the greatest
pleasure.
thing is, you should get to meet him in May, hopefully, if everything
Yeah.
works out.
We want to maybe go to comments here before we move on to anything else.
Ah, that's what I was asking. Comments, Lee?
Yeah. Let's see here. Bylog says, I just defended the Buzz Millennium, only beer that gets me high and drunk at the same time. I'll be on after 12:30 apparently. If any of you guys still stay up past your bedtime, we'll still be here, Greg, you son of a bitch. He also says you can make a saison at 2% or 10%. It's still a meh style to him apparently, so don't really care what you do with it. Even the barrel-aged ones don't normally do much for me. The only one I like is Black Oak Saison, and he put Black Oak in all caps. And that is mainly because it tastes more like a wit beer than a Saison. Paul says he's full of hate and too much hair, apparently. Ryaka says the Rev needs some stack high gravity. Okay. And
You can get me some Stack High Gravity. I'll make sure to review it when he's here.
There you go. Keep note, Ryacus. Keep note. Apparently, reviewing Under Influence says to Mike from 5 Paddles, are you guys making any sours currently?
That's how far behind you are. We already got to that one.
Oh, did we? Oh, well, why weren't you telling me these things?
Because we just wanted to see where you were.
You're a goddamn bastard. Reviewing Under Influence says, you guys ever tried Great Western Brewing from Saskatoon? Spoilers or pale ale screams meh, fuck you, with the laziest sense of vicious mediocrity I've ever experienced. It's okay, I guess.
No, I've never tried it.
And P.A. Bruno says, all I'm hearing is excuses, excuses, excuses. Love Midnight Paddler. Looking forward to seeing what you can do with it in the future.
Mike, Paul is the biggest hater you'll ever find, but he loves beer. But he's the biggest hater you'll ever find. You know, he's the guy that would piss off Ed by writing, this stout is too stouty.
Here's my response.
I still remember that. I still remember that conversation we had. We were all drunk in my basement, other than Vanessa, because Vanessa had to drive Ed home. And Ed goes, you know what I was reading on Untapped today? I was reading a guy that said my stout was too stouty. What the fuck do you want from my stout? I remember that conversation so well. It's too stouty. What the fuck does that mean?
This fits the style too correctly. I am offended.
Ed, welcome to the glowing globe that is Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You have to have a thick skin. You know, when you put your beer out there, somebody's always going to hate it. And that's a fact. You know,
And to hate it just to hate it.
The first time, this is a great story that I tell to people all the time when they talk about beer reviewing or trying to do their Cicerone or anything else. I walked into Nickelbrook. The first time I walked into Nickelbrook, John looked at me. I'm good friends with John. Me and John talk all the time. We actually have phone conversations. We have internet conversations. We have everything. And I walked into Nickelbrook, and he looked at me and he goes, I know you from somewhere. I go, I do a online beer review. You slagged my gluten-free beer. He went off on me for 25 minutes about how he made this Nickelbrook gluten-free beer that celiacs love and this and that and blah 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 blah. Do you want to read emails that people have wrote to me that love this beer? And I go, no, because I don't love that beer. I think that beer is shit, and that's all that matters to me. He goes, okay. Well, you're here, so you want to try good beer, and we that's how our thing blew off. You know, he was mad at me for slagging his gluten-free beer, and then when I said I don't fucking care if celiacs like your gluten-free beer or not, I don't like your gluten-free beer. That's when our relationship started, and it's just that you have to have a thicker skin than, oh my god, somebody doesn't like my beer, because there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like your beer, and there's always going to be somebody that loves your beer. I love Innocente. There's Innocente beers I hate. I love Five Paddles. There's Five Paddle beers I hate. I love Nickelbrook. There's Nickelbrook beers I hate. I love Cameron's. There's Cameron's beers I hate. I love Bose. There's Bose beers I hate. Everybody's gonna have that from every brewery. If you like everything, you might as well just drink Bud.
Yeah, a positive conversation between the consumer and the brewer does not necessarily have to be, oh my god, I love every goddamn thing you do. Constructive, positive conversation has differences in it. It has differences of viewpoint, differences of opinion, and you can actually discuss it like civil goddamn fucking adults and say, okay, I don't like this beer from you guys because of this and that, but I love these beers from you guys, and you don't have to fucking sit here and call me a fucking asshole and a hater because I don't necessarily like one or two beers from you guys. I mean, with you, Chad, talking to these people, like, you're a supporter of great beer in fucking Ontario. You're talking to breweries in Ontario, and you're telling them straight up, I like these beers from you, I don't like these beers from you, and that's just my personal goddamn opinion. And the ones who respond to that in a positive way go, okay, I accept that. That's the conversations you want. You don't want people like Michael Hart, like
Crazy Beard. Crazy Beard came up to us and they said, will you review our beer before it comes out? Because it comes out this week. And I said to them, yeah, I'll review the beer if you want to bring the beer to me, because he was here in Niagara talking to Niagara LCBO at the time. Like, I'll review the beer if you want me to, but if we hate it, it's going to be in there that we hate it. He's like, yeah, well, we all watched your videos. He went to Niagara College. He's like, we've all watched your videos. We know exactly what we're going to get if we hate it. We want you to review it. So I was okay with it. Simon was okay with it. My wife loved it. Simon's wife loved it. The cartoon didn't like it at all. And we put it up there. The cartoon gave it a 2 out of 10. I gave it a 6.75, I think it was. Gave it a 7. Wife gave it an 8. And we put it up dramatically. We even added to it. But the cartoon is out of your target range, because their age range was 27 to 35. So the cartoon was 36. So he was out of their target range. So we added that to the little comments on it. But if we like the beer, we like the beer. If we don't, we don't. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And I mean, people get butthurt about that shit. Like, I mean, those are the Michael Arnolds of the fucking world who, just tell you to fuck yourself if you don't like their beer. Like, people who are not open.
He still won't talk to me. He still won't talk to me.
People who are not open to constructive criticism, like Michael Arnold, like, the people who are buying your goddamn beer. They're buying your stuff, and they have criticisms about it, and you're not responding to them at all. You're just telling them to go fuck themselves. Well, they're going to say fuck you, and we're going to buy better beer somewhere else.
If I wasn't trying to be a somewhat neutral party, and I say somewhat neutral party because I'm not always neutral, we all know that. If I wasn't trying to be a somewhat neutral party, I would show the emails that are sent to me. I have viewers that watch my reviews of Michael Arnold's beers, and they're like, this is what he said to me when I sent him this. And they will send me the whole email message, and I really wish that I didn't run a beer festival and everything else, so I didn't care about what other breweries think of me, because I would post this stuff. But I have files of the things he said to his viewers and now to his customers, and they're basically exactly what you've said. Fuck you, basically.
I mean, if you're going to treat your customer base that way, I mean, the only thing Michael Arnold has going for himself is that he's sort of like embedded, sort of established in his position where maybe it won't hurt him so much. But then you go to...
I was talking to Sarah tonight. Sarah is the head of the beer section of the Ferry Street LCBO, and I was telling her that 7 beers from many Trafalgar beers. Get these out of here. And she's like, what do you mean? I thought you liked... I like his meads. I don't like his beer. He does a great job on his meads. What does he do on his alcohol? I don't know, because I haven't decided to pay that money yet for his alcohol. But his meads are good. His beer, you could have so many other Ontario breweries in this spot, or American breweries, or Swedish breweries, or any German breweries, any breweries. You could have so many different breweries in those 5 spots than his.
Yeah. I mean, I get the feeling he feels like he's established enough where he can just tell anyone to fuck off, no matter what. And that's a stupid...
And I am sorry, Paul. I'm sorry, Mike, that you're here, because I know you can't talk on a lot of these topics, because I understand exactly where you are on it. And I understand that because as a guy that runs a beer festival now, I've already lost a brewery that will never be at one of my festivals because of one thing I said that wasn't even taken the right way. So I understand exactly how you feel on some of these topics. So I apologize for that.
You know, the reality is that, you know, I can't speak for other breweries. And if I tried to, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. And that's the truth. And you know, a lot of that is based on, you know, you kind of do what you know, and it all depends on how you learn to brew, and what era you learn to brew, who you learn from, the equipment you use, and this is kind of a human story, right? I mean, that's how everybody does their craft, whatever it may be, whether it's brewing or how you mow your lawn. You know, and the fact of the matter is, we respect our customer base because we learn from them. You know, we've been told certain batches of beer, you know, supposed to be a hoppy beer. They'll say, well, what happened? Why wasn't it as hoppy as the last batch? But we go back and we look at our notes, right? We try to figure out why. Oh, well, we had a different varietal of hops. Different supplier. Maybe we fermented that batch at a little bit lower temperature. You know, there's a huge amount of variation that goes into every beer. So it's not an exact science. You do your best to try to control it so that you can have a product that you can replicate again and again and again for the people that want that same product. But the reality is that, you know, it's going to change a bit.
Yeah.
Even the big brewers get that.
Well, you're also fighting with just nature. You're fighting everything. Everything changes as the year changes.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So, you know, we also brew by mood, right? You know, you have a shitty day, and your batch may be a bit different that day. You do the best you can to replicate, but the reality is that that's part of life.
Paul, suck
what? Suck it. Suck it. Well, don't worry. We're all set up at the Rex, so we're going to suck it. Don't worry about it. We'll have a lot of quality time together.
Perfect.
Perfect. Magical.
What day are you guys getting here again?
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday night, get the KY. We're coming.
Well, I won't be drinking much with you because Saturday is the festival and I have to be there by like 7 or 8 a.m. So
lock your bathroom door.
But here's the point, Chad. Won't be leaving until Monday.
Well, that's great because Sunday we can do some amazing things.
Yeah.
Actually, tomorrow night, guys, because I don't know how many care. Tomorrow night we're going to be videotaping a bunch of gaming with the Rhino. Me, the Cartoon, the Punter, and the Pundit will be here playing things like Geek Out, Nightmare, and Cards Against Humanity, and we're going to do it all on and Smash Up. We're going to do it all on video too, for shits and giggles.
So here's the thing, Chess says, oh, I can't be drinking that day, but it didn't stop him last goddamn festival.
I
didn't drink as much.
I didn't drink as much, yeah, on Wednesday and Thursday. On Wednesday, it was just me and Paul, and I got Paul so drunk he broke glasses on my floor in my bedroom.
Yes.
On Thursday, there was a bunch of guys here, and we got Joe so drunk he couldn't even come to our brewery tours. On Friday, I stayed back on a bunch of stuff, and Ed actually made fun of me because I was cutting out fucking things for the awards. I was cutting out awards votes, and Ed's making fun of me the whole time, going, "Why aren't you drinking?" Fuck you, Ed. I'm doing work. Like, fuck you. I'm doing something. And it's the same thing this year. I'm going to be Friday night. I'm going to be mostly doing stuff like trying to find where my liquor license.
Where's my liquor license? Where's my liquor license? I don't know.
Like hours before the festival. Where's my liquor license? Where's my liquor license?
Oh,
I know where my liquor license is right now. It's right there. It's about 5 feet away from me. It's sitting in a box 5 feet away from me.
Nobody move that
Like
box.
fucking Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Yeah, what's in the box? What's in the box?
You know, and people don't get this, right? I actually just had a bunch of messages sent to me today from Jared and a few other people that were selling tickets going, is everybody that buys a pre-sale ticket guaranteed a glass? And we talked about this offline. Well, last year I thought I was going to get 500. Jason and the guys from Brimstone thought we were going to get 700. We got 600. I bought 502 glasses. I didn't want to buy any more because I'd have to buy 144 more. I didn't want to buy that to have a whole bunch left over. I would have had 46 glasses left over if I had bought that because only 598 showed up. So I had a bunch of guys go, if I buy a glass up ahead of time, will I be guaranteed? If I buy a ticket ahead of time, will I be guaranteed a glass? Because there was one guy at Jared's homebrew group that was pissed off that last year he didn't get a glass. He ended up telling me the name of the guy, and he was the 590th of the 598 that showed up to come through the gate. Well, when I bought my glasses last year, I was going to get 500 people. I bought 502 glasses. I had only sold 100 tickets when I bought my glasses. As of right now, I've sold 20 tickets, and we're figuring 1,500 people. I'm not buying 1,500 glasses when it comes time to buy my glasses if only like 200 people have bought tickets. It's just not happening. It's not going to happen because I'm not a festival with corporate sponsors. I'm paying for all this with my money and with the very minimal price I'm charging the breweries. I mean, I'm charging the breweries $100 a brewery. Most festivals are charging $500 to $1,000 a festival. I don't care to make money. I care to just cover my costs, but I'm not buying 1,500 glasses if I only have 200 tickets sold. It's just not happening.
I mean, you're that goddamn bent over shape because you didn't get a fucking glass that holds like a fucking ounce of beer. Like, yeah, get over yourself, man. Like, fuck off.
But it's for my collection.
Yeah, your collection. Oh, you didn't get the Albino Rhino Beer Fest fucking glass. Oh, your life is fucking over. You didn't get your money's worth in the festival. You didn't get to try all kinds of awesome beer and have fun.
Bottle opener.
I actually can say that other than festivals that are free to get in, I am the cheapest festival you're going to find for what you're getting.
I mean, Albino Rhino, you're the cheapest thing to get in anyway. Any hole.
I mean, Paul got into my house easily. He just showed up with a Jag. Oh my God, come in.
Pull your pants down, boy. I'm here.
It's just so goddamn pathetic, people. Like they feel so goddamn entitled. It's like, oh, you're going to the goddamn cheapest fucking beer fest in the fucking region, and you're gonna get to try all kinds of awesome goddamn beers, and you're complaining because you didn't get a fucking glass that holds an ounce of beer. You, sir, are a piece of shit. You're so goddamn entitled. You don't even deserve to fucking be in the. You don't deserve to drink beer. You deserve to be beaten in the goddamn kneecaps until you can't walk anymore.
What a world! What a world!
That's right.
Welcome to Nova Scotia, Mike. Welcome to Nova Scotia.
Where the anger really lies.
And Ed, I remember Ed sending me a message too. Can I come over to your house to drink with you guys? Yeah, you can. I don't care who shows up.
You cut
If
your
you're
hair.
an ass, my rule is no douches. There's like 2 people
I'm
in
out.
the beer
I'm
industry
out.
that aren't allowed in my house.
I can't be there. I can't be there.
We
Well,
have a
yeah.
we have a strict no douche rule at the brewery, so
Yeah, we're not
highly
coming in.
I am not allowed.
Yeah. You can be like Tim the Toolman Taylor's neighbor and just peek your head over the fence and we'll just sip your beer in a little funnel.
Well, my neighbor just laughs at us when we break your car trying to get it on.
Hey, fuck it. It was a good day overall. I made it home alive. That's all that matters.
Balance.
Matt
So
will
he
have
sh-
to be in the garage this year instead of the Jag.
He shows up. He shows up to get his car that's been in my garage since April, and he shows up to get my car with his trailer.
We're
and
both on no sleep.
I haven't slept. He hasn't slept. He just pulls the ramps out, and he just thinks that that's the way they go. There's like this much of a space between the bottom of the ramp and the top of the fucking trailer.
Yep.
And he tries to drive the Jag up onto the ramp and onto the trailer,
and it fell.
and it knocks the ramps off, and the Jag just lays like this on the fucking thing. And my neighbor's trying to get his truck out to go to work, and he's like,
No, he was going to a golf course.
yeah, he's like, your car is in my. He gives us a straight jack, and the straight jack breaks a light on the fucking Jag. It was a
It's okay.
It was
I
a
don't
fun
care.
time. But he's sitting here. He's the one that actually slept. And he's telling us what to do, and we're both fucking dead out of our minds. We're like,
Yeah, if we were a little bit less tired and took 5 minutes just to look at the situation, we would have been great. But we were all like, we gotta hurry, because there's no fucking place to park this big ass truck and trailer. Gotta go. Oh, fuck it. That's where rushing actually wastes time instead of saves it. But oh well, shit happens. That's why they invented beer.
Yeah, it all worked out in the end.
Yes, son. So, Paul,
Yo.
tell us about your fucking all grain shit, man.
My all grain shit?
Yeah, talk about it, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
what's on that?
I started brewing all grain in the beginning of the year. I got 2 batches. I got 2 official all grains done now. I just brewed up a stout over Super Bowl weekend. Everything's going good. The second all grain went a lot easier than the first all grain. I wasn't really sure on the amount of water you needed for strike, and I ended up putting a little bit too little water in for strike on the first all grain batch, and I watched 3.5 gallons of water disappear. And I actually had to look under my pot. I thought it was like running on the floor. I'm like, where the fuck did all my water go? Oh my god! And then I was running around trying to boil water real quick to get the rest of the water in there to fill it up. That was kind of a hair-raising adventure. But other than that, it was really fun. I mean, this is the first beer that I've had that all stages of tasting it, through wort, through the gravity readings, I've tasted it the whole way, and it always tasted good. Usually it's a little bit too this or that.
What did you think? You just tasted your Amarillo, right?
No, I think it tastes really great. I mean, it's great that you can pinpoint certain grains and stuff to get a very, you have more. It seems like you have a lot more control with all grain than the overall outcome. And I wanted a really bready, toasted grain, biscuity malt to balance really sweet, citrusy hops because I wanted like an English American IPA. And it hit all the marks. Even my overall gravity was basically where it was supposed to be. It's only like a 4.2, 4.3 IPA. So they're good English-style IPA as far as the ABV goes, and it has all the bready characters, caramel, but it's mixed with this kind of citrusy blood orange hop, which is interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, everything went pretty well. The next one I did is just a plain stout, except I added 4 ounces of cacao nibs and 4 ounces of crushed coffee beans to the primary fermentation. So we'll see how that comes out. All I can say is the anti-foam agent that I put in is working miracles, because the last brew I did between these two was an old ale, and foam plugged up the airlock and blew the whole thing onto the ceiling. And luckily my wife was kind of out of it that day, because she looked up and went, "I've seen worse," and just walked away. So I was like, that's good. So everything
here's a question for all the home brewers out there. How many of you have been able to make a extract brew and pass it off as an all grain? Because I've done it about 3 times now.
I don't know. That you'd have to get it to actually compare it with people's, this and that. I put my Blood of the Black Oak in the SJ Port 2014 challenge, and no one ever mentioned it being an extract, if you know what I mean.
So you did too, then?
Yeah. So there you go.
I ask because there's a lot of hate on extract brewing, but if you edit that extract brew to not just be that extract brew, it can be a special beer.
Yeah, absolutely. All the beers I did prior to this were extract, and some of them were great. I mean, and to a certain extent, it still seems that the sky's the limit. You can change and manipulate them just as much. You might just have a little bit less variance on the shelves at your local store to change that up without making it a partial, if you know what I mean. There is a little bit of a twang you get that I did notice, a little bit of a kind of a burnt, no matter what style it was, there was a little bit of a burnt twang that I got from the extract that I didn't get from the all grains. And the roasted character in the extracts didn't seem as pronounced as the roasted character I got out of the all grain that I did, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
But other than that, they're very similar, and you can brew great beers either way. I like the answer that you asked. Matt asked, I believe, Mike, and he said about paying attention to your yeasts and things. It also seems like the thing is a lot of people don't seem to get right is pay attention to your sanitation the whole time too, because anything can screw up your beer while you're making it. It seems, because I've made good beers and I've made bad beers, and most of the time it was me being just an idiot and not paying attention to this or that while I did it. I told someone today that I've made out of 10 times or 7 times out of 10 I've made a crazy beer and fucked it up because I did something wrong. But the 3 times I did do it right, it turned out pretty interesting. So just pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, and don't drink while you're brewing. I found that the hard way.
That takes all the fun out of it.
You have to drink while you're brewing. Yeah, absolutely, you have to.
That's
just
mandatory.
don't drink a lot.
You gotta wait until later.
Yeah. Depends how much, I guess. Quantity.
Yeah, totally.
I'm blind. I can't drink it all while I'm brewing, or I fuck it up.
Well, if anybody out there is gonna homebrew, if you're thinking about homebrewing, what kind of style would you try to focus on brewing? Or what has been, like, if you have brewed, what's been your favorite style to brew?
I love brewing stouts. Everything I brew is usually stout.
Right.
I've done oatmeal stouts, chocolate stouts. Right now I have a very experimental hot cocoa stout that I'm working on, and that thing's pretty interesting.
Cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I didn't know you peed in your growler, so they send me a bottle of hot cocoa stout, but right now I'm scared.
No!
Don't worry, it'll be marketed very specially, Beer Snobs United, Piss Pilsner or something like that.
I
There
got
you go.
the one brew I'm bringing up. I'm going to try to bring up, and I don't even know how it's going to turn out. So if it's shit, I do apologize beforehand. But I made an old ale. It's I found someone told me the thing about Brewer's Friend, and you could build recipes there. I put the recipe in, and it came up with two different possibilities of style, which I thought was interesting. One said American Stout, and then the other one said Old Ale. So I'm hoping it's leaning towards an Old Ale in style. Then I got some spirit variants on there. I had some done in a base beer to go off of. Then you have some of them's in brandy, cognac, scotch, and wine, red wine. So I bottled them all up. I want to bring one of each up so you guys can try them. And then I took some of the one after bottling. I saved it all up, and then I have one 22-ounce growler or bottle of all the different spirits put into one blend. So I'm gonna bring that up and see what that tastes like.
Now that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rainbow of flavor.
Yeah, rainbow of shit. It's a mixed bag enema, maybe. I don't know.
That should be the name of it.
Mixed bag enema? I love it.
Yeah, I'd buy it.
Yeah. Colostomy grab bag.
Enema ESB.
Yeah. I should never multitask when I'm doing these things because I always go.
Any comments out there, Lee? Sorry, I've been eating crackers with herb and garlic cheese. So my farts are going to be amazing for my wife tomorrow night.
Beautiful.
Oh, well, I'm sure
You
we're
gotta
all
share.
incredibly jealous that we're not experiencing any of these things. Let's see. Come on now, goddamn fucking YouTube bullshit. It's not reloading properly.
All I can say is I know even Ed loved the fact that we got to smell me and Paul's like 2 days worth of nothing but meat smells.
That's my normal diet. It was the spices that did me in. Spices just don't work well with me.
Mike, Paul would fart and he would clear the entire room. The only person that would be still in the room is
on film.
reviewing with him.
Yeah, I've never actually had it on film, me clearing a room before. That was pretty interesting. It was on one of Lee's. It was on one of Lee's reviews, which is even better. Because my fart was actually on the King's channel.
And his wife, who were way back there where the far couch is, because I have a futon, a bed, and a couch. Even Ed on the far couch ran away.
Yeah. Now, the greatest thing is Ed's face was half impressed and half disgusted. That was nice. That was pretty good. I couldn't just help but laughing. I just couldn't stop laughing. Good times, great oldies. Come on, Lee.
I guess we lost Lee. We lost.
You lost Lee? Oh,
apparently.
Lost.
I think
Lost
him and
Lee
his brother
then?
are making out.
Oh God. I'm missing out. Jesus.
One
Yeah,
of the
we're
questions
gonna
we
be,
have is
I don't know who
everyone's
else is
opinion.
Go for it.
I have the very last comment, and if Lee comes back, he can get the other. But everybody's opinion on Westbrook Gose.
Ooh, I really like that one.
Nobody shared it with me, so I have no opinion.
Yep,
I have no
had
opinion.
no opinion.
No opinion.
Even if I had it, I still have no opinion. Fuck you, hipsters.
Too many of you have no opinion.
No, that's a pretty good beer. As far as the Goza goes, I think that one has a little bit more acidity in it. The saltiness definitely shows up a little bit more. I don't know. I think that one's one of the better Gozas out there.
Just tell everybody that you like the salty flavor in your mouth and see what happens.
It smells like chlorine.
So juicy.
It was one of the saltiest Gozas I've had.
It's almost chewy. Salty, chewy. Any others? That's the last one.
Okay, now. Hey, I'll see you next week. What's going on right now?
So how about the snow, huh?
That's some winter small talk. It's a precipitation. It's gonna go in the Altoona.
Yeah, we're getting it right now. We're getting a good 6 inches right now.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. If I was there, you'd get a good 4 inches. I'll tell you that.
I was about to say, I measured it pretty quick.
3.5 inches of rust.
Yeah. Cobwebs and rust.
Just like I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, YouTube. So this is the time that I feel bad for you, because what happens is we're out of our topics. You aren't giving us any new topics, and we just don't give a shit anymore because you're not giving us any new topics. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click the offline button, and then we're going to talk about things that you're going to be mad that you don't get to
Finally,
hear.
I get to take my shirt off.
Exactly.
Yes.
So YouTube, see you next week. Wednesdays, as usual, at 8 p.m. Eastern, give or take 15 minutes, because who knows when my kids decide to go to sleep. And yeah, remember, if you have comments, we're a live show, so you can throw them out there. If you don't have comments, you can just sit and watch, and we'll always talk about whatever news is in the industry right then. And now we're going offline, so we can talk about ourselves. Bye.